I wish it was more user-friendly, you know? Activities. Flip camera, no. Poll. Drawing guess. Wallpaper. AI wallpaper.
Well,
No, we don't want that. Okay. I figured that out real fast. Let's see. Setting. Here we go. Okay. All
there you
right.
go.
I knew I'd find it. Just
Yeah,
takes
go
me a
over to
while.
the right just a little bit. Yeah, I think people will see us.
Yeah, now you can see it pretty good, can't you?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Hey guys, we're going to be talking about how Jesus warned us that Yahweh was the devil in the scriptures tonight. It's probably a pretty hot topic because most people don't believe that, but we're going to attempt to show how that happened and how we've been deceived about it. If anybody would like to join us, feel free to come to invite, to request to come up if you're over 18. I'm going to share this live real quick.
Yeah, share it with everybody you know.
I also let YouTube know. I sent them a thing.
Yeah, because you got a big following on YouTube, really.
Yeah,
That should.
we might get a bunch of people coming. Alrighty, now I share it to Facebook.
You can't go live on YouTube, huh?
I could, but so many trigger words are
Oh yeah,
used,
yeah.
and I got
Just
two
you don't want
strikes.
to risk. You don't want to risk losing all that work.
Yeah, I got two strikes too.
I know.
So if I do
Gosh.
that, and I got one more, the channel's gone for good.
Yeah, we can't do that.
Nope, can't afford that.
Ah, I agree with you.
Is Vic gonna be able to come tonight? You think?
I
I
called
need.
him earlier, so
Can you message Aileen and let her know we're in here?
yeah. Give me a second. I'll be right back.
Okay. Hello, everybody. We're going to be talking about Yahweh and how Jesus warned us that Yahweh was the devil. Most people miss it. Um, they just read right over it, but we're going to attempt to discuss that tonight. And I'm going to see if I can adjust those cards without messing up our view here. I might be able to. I might have to change a couple of things, but no, that's as far as it'll go.
I can't even see the title though, really.
Yeah, I'm going to scoot it
There you
over
go.
here.
Yeah.
Okay.
A little bit more, a little bit more. There you go.
Alrighty. You can tell better.
Yeah, I can
Hey,
see it.
Babs.
Hey, Babs.
Feel free to come up if you want to. We're going to be talking about Yahweh and how Jesus warned us that he was the devil and the ways he did it. Just waiting for a few people to get in here that might want to participate, and then we'll get started.
Yeah, we'd love anybody to come up and talk, even if you just want to talk.
And if they
Oh,
just
thanks,
have
Babs.
questions too.
We appreciate the love.
Thank you, Babs. We love you too.
If you could share it or see if there's any people you may know that may want to be in to talk, that would be awesome.
Yeah, I'm looking to see if anybody else. Carrie Ann's on. I'm going to see if she wants to come up here. Let's see if
Thanks for
anybody
the
else.
likes, guys. Anybody's welcome to come up. You can talk about whatever, really. But this is the topic at hand.
Alright. Rose is on. I'm inviting some of these people.
Pap joined.
Hey, Pap.
Thanks, Babs, for sharing the live.
Thank you
We
so much.
appreciate it.
Yes, appreciate it. Even if we disagree with us, we'll be glad to discuss it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Uh-huh.
Thanks so much, Babs. Hey, how are you?
Hi, Trevor. How old are you, Trevor?
31. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I
Yeah,
sure
we
can.
can.
Cool.
And who's this other person showing up? Somebody was showing in there.
I only see Trevor.
Oh, okay. Trevor, are you familiar with this concept that Jesus warned us about Yahweh?
Well, I can tell you what I am familiar with is I grew up. I'm no longer this, so don't jump in. Just let me finish. I
Oh, it's
promise.
okay. Just talk.
I grew up Catholic, and
All right.
I'm not Catholic anymore.
Hey, Rose.
Hey, how are you doing?
The
All right.
host was Catholic.
Yeah, I'm an ex-Christian altogether.
We are too.
Okay. Um, I don't use the Y name out of respect for the Hebrew people. So it's hard to address that. So I'm just gonna like use a code word like the Lord or something. I don't know. But like basically, God is Satan or the Satans. It's like God is
Well,
good and bad. Or is
we
that kind
think
of what you're saying?
we think that the Jewish fire desert God from the Old Testament is not the Father that Jesus came to reveal to us.
Yeah, I would say Jesus was preaching about the Hebrew God.
Um,
Not the
You know,
Christian God.
you know that the line in John where it says he's talking to the Jews and he said, "You are of your father, the devil," and he was a liar and an unaliver from the beginning. That he's literally talking to them, the ones that were worshiping the Lord in the Old Testament. And people don't miss that. They miss it. And when he says from the beginning, he's literally saying from the Genesis, which, most people don't catch that either because you're not reading it in Greek. But it's pretty interesting.
Yeah, the Greek and Hebrew translations are important.
Yeah, they're very important.
Have you guys read this book that I'm reading right now? It's called Crucifying the Bible.
I don't think so. Who's it written by?
Deborah Grace.
I hadn't read that one, no.
I haven't read it. I'm sorry.
It's really good. I'm getting to some juicy parts about how Jesus is a human sin sacrifice, and it breaks all of the Levitical laws in the Old Testament. Like it's not a valid sin sacrifice. Like it can't be a person, has to be unalived quick. The carcass has to be drained of all blood. And she's right. Like there's very specific commands to the Levites for purposes of sin sacrifice for intentional sin.
Right. So for where we're at, we can give you a little bit of understanding of our perspective, I guess, so it can help you with conversation. But so for us, we've been studying the Greek manuscripts to see that in the oldest Greek manuscripts, there's the trial, and it very apparently seems that there's two Jesuses, because at the trial it says there's Jesus Bar Abba and Jesus who they call the Christ, which the Christ meaning anointed Jewish prophesied Messiah, that would be carrying on Yahweh's whole thing and the prophets and all that if he was the Christ, right?
Yeah.
So we don't believe that he was, well, we don't think that the real one, the Son of the Father, was the Christ. I think they maybe superimposed a Christ figure there, but yeah, if you're catching all those things, like there's so many problems if you're trying to connect the Christ with their prophets, and it's not going to make any sense because it doesn't align with the prophecy. So I can agree with you there. Um, I'm trying to think of how else to say. Oh, hey, Eileen.
Hey, Eileen, and thank everybody, for all the likes. That's just fantastic. Thank you so much.
If you're from Mississippi, by the way, I love your home state. I toured with Disney on Ice for 4 years, and I got to go to Tupelo and Biloxi, and food there is just as good there as anywhere in the United States, and if not better.
Yeah, I grew up just north of Biloxi.
Yeah,
I tried.
Sam, if
Oh,
you would
sorry.
like to come up too, you can as well. Minnie shall come in my name. Yeah, and that in my name, the Greek translation of that is epi, which means to superimpose, put on top of my name. So he's literally telling them that many are going to come and say that I am the Christ.
Mm-hmm. Of course.
There's a comment in the section, yeah, down there. I was trying to address what he was saying.
Yeah, and like, I don't know, there's just so many problems. And also you can't, like, I'm big on science, right?
Sure.
And
Yeah.
the main thing is you can't repeat a resurrection. For me.
Well, we have two different resurrection stories as well. Because we have the one that's, oh, you can't touch me, don't come near me type. And then there's the, oh, here, stick your hand in my side and totally touch me and feel me. So that's two different contradictions right there of him coming back. That, it's hard to really say that that's the same. But
can I ask you guys for advice?
Advice?
Yeah, about something I discuss with Christians often.
Sure, just go ahead. Yeah, I mean, you're here, talk.
Yeah, so a lot of Christians try and say that I was never a real Christian or I never really believed. And I think
yeah, we hear that all the time.
Oh yeah. If I cite Romans 10:9, I think that alone should be enough, like, for any Christian to be like, okay, you said it with your mouth and you believed with your quote heart, even though it's not what you believe things with. And like, I'm just wondering, like, what the hell else can I do? Because apparently I have to prove that I was really Christian to these folks. They always say that.
You don't got to prove nothing.
Believe,
Well, I mean, do the teachings of Jesus mean anything to you? I mean, the things he said, do they resonate with you? Do they mean something? Have they been life-changing to you at all? Or
no, it's not
for
that.
me. For me, they have. I mean, I was atheist. I've gone through a long journey of searching and studying and going from I didn't even think there was a creator to now I think there's a creator. I'm always open to being wrong, but I'm trying to understand a little bit where you're at because I want to try to help if I can.
Yeah, so I'm just like trying to heal. I'm trying to.
I understand.
Yeah, I'm trying to learn how to not be a people pleaser. Be okay with pissing people off, setting boundaries, and loving myself, and stopping hating myself and blaming myself for all these struggles I've had in my life as a result of being like gaslit and victim blamed to begin with.
Yeah, I get it. I totally get it.
Yeah.
We're all healing from that. I mean, we all were a part of a Christian church. We were all part of that community. And even for me, I was part of a Messianic Hebrew roots community, which is even more harsh. So I came out of that, thankfully. But yeah, I totally get what you're saying when it comes to that. Thanks for the heart, James.
Like a thank you leaving.
It's
Can
funny
I ask a
'cause-
question? Hello, everybody, by the way. What's a real Christian? I'm sorry. I've been waiting to ask.
Yeah.
I never understood that. Hello, everybody, by the way.
Hi, how you
Hello.
doing?
Hello.
I'm good. Thanks for asking. Appreciate it.
Hey, Sam.
Hey, how you guys doing?
Hey.
Doing pretty good.
Nice.
So, I don't know if is any are any of you partial preterists or preterists?
I don't understand.
What is that?
Oh, it means that preterism means that it was done in the past. It's already been done.
Well-
Partial preterists means that most of the Bible has been completed, and we still just got a little ways to go.
I would say I'm probably leaning toward a partial preterist
Yeah, me too.
at this point. I still think we got a couple things to go through coming up, and I kind of think there's a repeat of some of it, either by them trying to manufacture it, or else it's just part of the last go round. You know.
So if they're trying to manufacture it, then there's no repeat from God. And I've never heard in the Bible going from the Old Testament to the New Testament that it's going to repeat. In Paul said, "This is the last times, my brothers." So this is the last time. That's
I
what he
think he
said.
meant out of karma.
I appreciate y'all. I gotta hop off. I'm starting my Red Dead stream. I'm a streamer.
No
Oh,
worries.
okay. Thanks, Trooper, for stopping by.
Nice.
I'm gonna have to
Nice.
follow you because sometimes
I
I
follow
watch
y'all
that
too.
stuff. That community is so crazy.
That's Red Dead Redemption. Is that what you Red Dead?
I'm gonna follow you because I just love the laughs. I hope you're a troll out there.
Oh yeah. I was dragging my friend with a horse, and we were. I was using her as bear bait and stuff. It was hilarious.
Okay, I'm gonna give you a follow just because of
That
that.
very bait.
All right, man. Thanks, y'all. I appreciate
Have
y'all.
a good one, man.
Yeah, have a
Nice
good
one.
meeting you.
Always.
The reason I said it might repeat is because of the Isaiah thing, saying he was telling the end from the beginning of things not yet done.
Yeah.
It's like
Yeah.
I don't think the Old Testament had actually happened at that time.
I think what Paul was saying, just my, thinking that, at the end, it will be an end of karma to a new age, that it wouldn't be any more repeats. Even the karma that through many lifetimes we went through will be wiped into the new. Like it wouldn't be no more trying to remember or no more incarnations with veils. It will be pure light through incarnations. You will always remember who you are.
Right.
It wouldn't be no more
I
of
think
these
we're in-
things.
I think we're in Satan's little season, and the reason why it's going to repeat is because he gets a little bit of time to still try once again to deceive people. And I think he's just using the repeat of things to deceive people.
Yeah, I
Revelation
agree.
chapter 20. I 100%. I'm on board.
Yeah, the shatters. It's
Yeah,
called shatters to me because he know the dark ones know that they can't push any further. So they try everything they can to push people, but it won't work. That's the shatters. That means that God's army already won that war. So they'll keep trying to push these shatters to fear people. It's like trying to survive and hold on to something that's already won.
I think all they have is repeat too, because he's a copycat, right?
Mm-hmm.
So all he has is a repeat of things.
Yeah,
He
I
doesn't have
agree.
anything new.
Yeah, that's why Jesus said in the season, don't focus on it. Look up. Don't look at them. They already
Something,
done.
something a lot
So I
of
gotta-
people miss in Matthew 24. He said they were sitting on the Mount of Olives, and the disciples came to him privately, saying, "Tell us, when will these things happen, and what will be the sign of your coming and of the end of the age?" And Jesus said to them, this was an odd response, "See that no one misleads you. Many will come, and we've got in my name saying, I am the Christ, and will mislead many. Okay? Well, the big issue there is N is not really N would have been look like a little EV in Greek. What is that? The word that's actually there in Greek is epi. And epi, it means to lay upon or to superimpose. Okay, it's like when you were in high school and you're learning about your skin and science, and they tell you that your epidermis is your outer layer, your skin, it's layered on top of everything else. It's superimposed on top of the rest of your stuff. It's the largest organ in your body, but it's on top because it starts with epi. Okay, so what he was literally saying in Greek was, many will come upon my name or superimpose my name, saying, I am the Christ, and mislead many. Okay, now, how many people call Jesus Christ?
Almost
Really everybody.
everybody, really.
So
Yeah,
almost
right.
everybody
Everybody.
has been deceived, just like Revelation said. Okay, when you go to look at Revelation and look at that 666, it's literally a noma sacra. I don't know if I pronounced that correctly, but they
Mhm.
took the names out of the text, or I think it was like right at 100 AD, somewhere right in there, and removed them and put in initials for everybody's names. Well, if it's a name in the Greek koine, it'll have a line over the top. Well, the initials in that Koine Greek are Christos, or Christ.
Crystals.
And it comes to
Yeah.
666.
Mhm.
Okay, now that made my heart jump when I saw this, when this come off the page at me, because I didn't see this till I started studying Greek.
Mhm.
Because you don't think of epi, you're thinking of the N word, like in my name. Like you're thinking of people coming in his name claiming to be him or something, but that's not what it says in Greek.
Mhm.
It says they're going to come in Jesus' name claiming he's the Christ.
Superimposing on top
That's why
of
he
his
said
name.
discern.
And
Said
So
discernment
you're
is
saying
very
that
important.
Christ comes down to 666? Is that what you're
yes,
saying?
sure does. And if you look at the first three words in Revelation, it says the apocalypto of Ilisus Christos, the revealing of Jesus Christ. And there's literally two Jesuses in Revelation also.
That's the crystal grid in the
Yeah.
666. Like the 666 is the dark grid that the dark ones put up over humanity. That's the 666. The crystal grid is the new grid of the fifth dimension that will bring more light into the earth so humanity can start ascending through their light body.
Now, a lot of people be ready to just kill me for saying all this, but it's the truth. And he said we'd know the truth, and the truth will set us free.
Yeah.
All right, now
So
we
I'm
got
sorry,
to look at.
I'm sorry, but are you getting this from this guy, Derek Jester?
No, this is
No,
my.
this is all
I
our
came
own
from me
studies.
studying Jesus' words.
Oh,
What I
okay.
did was I separated out Jesus' words from everybody else, from Peter, Paul, James, all of them, and from the Old Testament and from the narrative. I just took just what he said and tried to listen to what he was telling us. And that's how I came up with this.
Nice.
Because when you look at it, it's like he rebuked everybody that called him that. He commanded that no
always
man should
commanded them.
ever. Yeah, he commanded no man should ever call him the Christ. And he did.
Multiple times.
Yeah, that we've got about 4 scriptures in there where he says that. And he denied that he was the Christ. We've got 5 times in English and 1 time in Mark where he says, I am the Christ. But
He's Yeshua.
they dropped a negating particle on
He's
that one
Yeshua.
time.
Over time, man created Jesus, the name, actually.
Well,
But
the name Jesus, even in the French, because that was around in that time, that
Yeah.
means something also. So
Yeah,
but
Jesus
he know both. He go
in
by
French
both.
is I am.
Yeah, he go by both. Jesus, he know humanity been deceived, so he answered to both.
So what did
Jesus,
Jesus
Yeshua.
call himself?
Yeshua.
The Son of the Father.
He called himself Yeshua, even to these days, Sananda, Yeshua. But
I used
Jesus,
to be
he
into the
still
Hebrew roots.
answered.
Are you Hebrew roots or?
I never follow religion or Hebrew or I'm
Well,
just
just because a lot
cool.
of them they like to use that name.
Oh no, his name truly is Yeshua. Like even
It could
when he
be,
channeled me, it's through Yeshua Senanda.
but even if then we're gonna have to say that there's two
This my
Yeshuas if we're just going off the name of Jesus. I
Jesus
think
is
that there's
fine too. I think both is fine.
right.
Cause he know both.
Yeah, I mean,
Um,
technically, and they say that it's the same name in Hebrew. We have no Hebrew manuscripts till 1400 AD. So I don't even worry with it. It's like I just
Yeah,
go with what we got in the Greek because that's the only manuscripts we got except for Aramaic.
yeah.
And the
You know, they don't
Aramaic
go
ones
by
were,
names. They go by thoughts, emotions, energy, the heart. Like if you even
yeah,
think about one of them, they hear you. They really do hear you.
yeah, I'm
Like,
not caught up on the name thing, the
yeah,
name game.
me neither.
Now, I
Me
am
neither. I'm
caught
not
up
caught up
on
on the
there's
name.
two different Jesuses, or
yeah.
two different Jesus. There was the one called the Christ, and then there was another one called Bar Abba. And Bar Abba means
Barabba.
son,
Yeah.
son of the
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Father. And when I was reading in the
Mhm.
Jewish Encyclopedia, Oregon, who was one of the early church people, said that they took Jesus Bar Abba out and shortened it to Jesus. So
Yeah. Yeah.
we have
Because
a
they thought it would be
documented historical
confusing.
document saying that they changed his name from Jesus Bar Abba to Jesus. That's pretty bad.
The scholars say, oh, it was too confusing
Yeah, that
because
was the
they want to
reasoning.
direct people to Jesus the Christ.
Okay, I'm going to go to that next because I'm kind of giving a rundown here why we're doing this. Okay, if you go to Acts 19, they say you have Jewish vagabonds, exorcists an exorcist back then was somebody that extracted an oath. Okay, and they're extracting an oath from those people that have been worshiping Lord Jesus. Okay, having them denounce that name and swear an oath to the Jesus that Paul taught. Okay,
Right. Right.
the one Paul taught, if you look at Paul's writings, it's the Christ one. And if you go into the manuscript part as deep as I have, you'll see that Christ is added in the four Gospels in many places where it wasn't originally there. And that's scary too. But the one primarily pushing the Christ word was Paul. And they were having them swear an oath to that
Yeah.
one.
A juror means to swear an oath.
And Jesus said, don't swear any oaths. So I think we have a lot of reasons to really look at this strongly. Even if you don't agree with me, I think it's something people should look into because I don't expect everybody to take my word for it. You know,
It's different. It's very important that people don't take oaths because it could carry you through many incarnations.
That's right. That's right. But
I
Paul's
don't
making them,
follow
and the Jews
anything.
are making them swear these oaths to this Christ figure. And they're like, if anyone preaches a different Jesus than the one you've heard here, the one that Paul teaches, then let him be accursed. And I don't, Paul did some very questionable things, but
I do follow Christ in me, but not
think
nothing in the
about it for a
world.
minute. Now, when Peter named him as the Christ, it says that Jesus rebuked him and said that he strictly commanded him that no man should ever call him that. Okay, now what do we have in Acts? If Jesus rebuked me and told me to never call him that, would I call him that? No. I'd say,
Right.
yes, sir, fine. I'm going to do what you want. I would not be. But in Acts, we got him saying there's no other name by which anybody could be saved than by Jesus Christ. Then we have Paul telling them to, you know, um, drop the Lord Jesus and swear by the one that he's teaching. And he even says, if anybody teaches different Jesus than me, let them be accursed.
I never went to church or nor ever read the Bible, but I still ran into Jesus Christ through a spiritual way.
well,
And when Jesus Yeshua came to me, which I see one, it wasn't like how the churches of man say these beings are. They really loving for all. Like I felt nothing but pure love. Like I was even felt paralyzed for
Yeah,
like
that would
40
be
some
the
minutes.
Son of the Father. That would I would think that that's the
I
real
had an
Jesus.
encounter like that too, True Blue. I really did. And
Yeah, it's
I
very
felt washed
different.
with the biggest love I'd ever felt in my life.
Yeah, you
Amen.
did.
But
Me too.
He
Late
showed
December
Christ, the Father.
2019.
yeah, so we're probably all in the same similar boat. We're coming to this conclusion um, from different angles and different perspectives. So it just that we just try to focus a little bit more on that Christ word, because there's many times he's telling us not to call him that, and I because if you're calling him that, you got to know what that title and that word means.
It's one.
It means anointed or Jewish
Hmm.
prophesied Messiah, which we
Right.
definitely do not think that he was that. I don't think that he was tied to Yahweh, but there was another Jesus that I think was, and I think that they did call him the Christ, and they've tried to pretty much push the whole Christian religion, Catholic religion, everything is based on this Christ figure.
I heard his voice, Sally, when he woke me. It sounded very loud at first, like my conscience was tuning in to this strong frequency. It sounded almost like a audio going until the voice comes strong. I thought it was my own thoughts until it was very strong, until I just gave into it. And yeah, it's when it comes to our bodies and our soul, it's like a personal journey for each soul to reach a certain point in that divinity to connect with the light in a way of walking in the world, because it's very
Well,
different.
but you're talking about things where you're saying, well, I felt this overwhelming love and peace and things like that. So we have to compare and contrast these two Jesuses then, because which one are you actually experiencing when you're experiencing that? Because to me, it can't be the Christ, because the Christ is talked about coming back with a sword and plagues and all these things, and it sounds like Yahweh again
Was he
all
talking
over.
about people, or his self just coming, or was he talking about ones that's already on the ground living, that he will move through them with his spirit?
Well,
When he came to me, it was like, and I didn't see him, but I knew he was in the room, and I could feel his presence, and it was like he was in my mind talking to me telepathically.
Yeah.
And the first thing he told me was, "You have to change." Then he flashed. I thought I was dying because he flashed my entire life before my eyes. It was like every bad, awful thing I had ever done went flashing by me, and I was like, "Oh, I'll never make it," And then he was like this waves of love. He was like, "Oh, don't feel that way. Don't feel that way. I love
Yeah.
you." And he said,
Nice.
"You change, you change." And I said, "I will." And I gave it to him that day. But I was standing there thinking, am I with Jesus or am I with the Father? I couldn't make up my mind. Now, I battled with this thing over who he was. And all these years this was 10 years ago when this happened. And I
Nice.
battled with that, and I had a dream. And in my dream, right before I woke up, and usually I dream in the middle of the night. So when I dream at the end, it's something important. And he just came to me and he said, "Just so you know, I am the Father." And I was like, "What?" I was wide awake as soon as he said it. I was like, I thought, "Oh my gosh." He said, "I just don't want you to worry."
Yeah. Nice.
And I mean, so I will never doubt who it was that came to me. It's like, and I don't think that we're allowed to see him, because like I said, like Sally was saying, nobody's heard his voice. He talks telepathically. It's a weird thing. It's
Yeah.
almost like most people would think you're psychotic, and I had never heard voices or had any psychosis or anything like that.
Yeah, something to get used to. It's not. It's the way of the universe to be telepathic and to communicate through thought form and through an open heart is the true way. That Yeshua showed, Jesus showed, the balancing way. So yeah, it will feel weird. Like everybody on this earth, when you telepathic, you can just walk past somebody and feel all their energy. It's like they own data. But
I get you.
yeah,
I feel like now he's with me all the time. It's like all I got to do is talk to him just like I would, my dad.
Hello, Plank. I let you up. I don't know if you want to talk or contribute at all, but
Hey, thank
So
you.
if you guys could, because when I had this vision, I wasn't sleeping. There was nothing, It was not like I was sleeping or anything or nothing like this. I was just walking in my kitchen and going to get like a snack out of the refrigerator or whatever. And all of a sudden, I was transported in this white area with no end to it. It was all white. And then I seen this light coming from the top, like when people die, they see this white tunnel.
right.
Well, I seen what looked at like Jesus Christ sitting on the throne coming out of the light. And it was beautiful. It was gorgeous. And he showed me an image of me being covered with this big, heavy black tarp. And I could feel that I was under the tarp, and I could see myself under the tarp. It was like I was looking at myself through 3 different sets of eyes. And
My friend that's had a near death is very similar type experience of what you're talking about. I'm sorry to interrupt, but go ahead.
No worries. And I was under the tarp, under this big black heavy thing blocking the light from hitting me. And this man came and grabbed the very tip of the corner of this thing covering me. And when he lifted it, it came up like a silk sheet. It was like it was no weight to it at all. And then I remember being one person again, and then the light was hitting me.
Your
And
camera's
it was-
live. Go on. I don't know what you're filming.
I got to turn the air on. Sorry. I'll be right back.
It's okay. Go ahead. Sorry.
And
Go
then
ahead.
when the light hit me, it was like everything drained from the top of my head to the bottom of my feet. It was like somebody pulled a cork out of my feet. And
Right.
all of the black, ugly, and depression and anger and everything that I had bottled up inside of me was draining out. And what was being replaced was pure love, pure light, pure peace. And then
Yeah.
he grabs me, a man grabs me from my shoulders, like in the back of me, and pulls me off the earth and into like the universe. And I could remember seeing the earth getting smaller and smaller and smaller. And I could see these solar systems and everything. And then he says to me, look at it. So I looked from left to right, and it was so big and so vast. And he said, this cannot hold the love that I have for you. And then he told me, do not be angry, do not be mad, because it will continue. And then I was immediately...
I've never had these experiences, unfortunately.
It was the first time in my life, and I've never had voices. I've never seen anything crazy.
Yeah, me
I
neither.
wasn't even
Yeah.
expecting this. It was crazy,
Okay.
and it changed my life. It totally changed me right from there. From 2019, I've been hitting the good book. I've been doing research. I tried to learn Greek, but that is so difficult, and I ain't got time for it.
I know it is difficult, but there's people that have time to study this, and we've studied a lot of these things. So,
Rose, did you have anything you want to add?
But yeah, I just wanted to share my story, and I will definitely
I
get back with you
appreciate
guys.
it.
I gotta run to the market right now.
okay,
There's a few
Okay,
things I
thank
gotta
you
do.
for
Thanks,
coming.
Sam. Yeah,
We
definitely.
was
enjoyed
a good
listening to your testimony too.
Thank you.
bless.
Thank you
We
so much.
appreciate
God bless,
you.
guys.
Yeah, nice talking with you.
Um,
I was
Go
gonna say,
ahead, talk.
Blank had something to say.
no, go
Go
ahead,
ahead.
Rose.
I just wanted to say, the last couple days I've gone through and watched almost all your videos. And I've already told you about when I was younger, around 7, 8, when you sat down, every year and watched, the 10 Commandments and the Jesus movie, every Easter. And when I was watching the crucifixion part, it's the court hearing thing, when they're up there saying, "Who do you want me to release?" Right? And everybody's screaming Barabbas. And I had a voice that told me, I thought it was one of my aunts telling me, but now I think back, I'm not 100% sure. But I had a voice tell me, it's the wrong one. They released the wrong one. So like I've known about Jesus Barabbas since I was like 7, 8 years old. So it's really nice to come across where other people.
That's amazing, really.
Yeah.
I didn't really start to see this Barabbas thing until a couple of years ago. So
Yeah.
that's wild that you've seen that.
Yeah. Well, I heard it, and then and I was told, Barabbas is the one that they should have saved. And I'm going to be honest, as a child, I never understood. Okay, I always thought Christ was his last name,
Well, it's a title.
I didn't think it was a title, not like Mr. or Sir or something like that, I thought his first name was Jesus and his last name was Christ. Like Steve Plank's name is Steve and his last name is Plank. That's what I.
It's actually a proper name also.
Yeah.
As well as a title.
But I don't ever very rarely did I ever say Jesus Christ. I always said Jesus. And I think I was led. But I wanted to say
a
about.
lot of people say that name, and
Yeah.
We can't deny that people have definitely experienced things through that name, and all these near-death experiences and things as well. It's like they are all talking about seeing Jesus, talk about seeing the Father, this overwhelming peace, light. I'm not trying to interrupt you. Go ahead if you want to keep talking.
No, you're fine. Go ahead.
No. I was going to let you keep going. I'm sorry. I don't want to interrupt. I want people to talk.
But I wanted to ask I don't remember which video it was, but I noticed you did mention in a couple videos about Italy with the Jews,
Right.
and them being the chosen.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting because the geography has been moved. You know how
think so.
Revelation says that every mountain will be moved out of its place? It already has been.
Right.
And
Well, I mean, I agree.
I think that he was unalived in Rome.
Right. I always thought it was Rome. I didn't know people thought otherwise, but like I said, I don't know. I just always thought that. But
If you look at that word for sheep gate, Rose, where it says where the man the man was waiting for somebody to help him get in the water, to stir up the water, and so he could be healed, and then Jesus comes and heals him. Well, that word in Greek is pro-botica. Okay, pro means in front of, and botica back then meant the Vatican. Okay, there was a Vatican right there, and right in front of it was a healing temple with running water on both sides, set right in the middle of the Tiber River. And I looked at the Latin too, and it's the same thing. It's pro botica, and botica in Latin is Vatica. Mm-hmm. It was the actual building. So John was telling us where it happened. Then we also got Potter's Field was in Rome. Mm-hmm. And that is written up by Tacitus he said it was a place where they threw the criminals and the people that were killed that didn't know who they were, any dogs that died, all that kind of stuff. It got to stinking real bad. So they buried it over with 30 foot of soil and renamed it to a garden. And I got that in one of my videos on that one, and the one on probiotic is coming out in this next video.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
I hope that helps.
Well, my question is,
I'm listening.
when you said,
Right.
I'm sorry.
Oh, you could go ahead, ladies first.
Ask. We want to know.
My question is, when you said, like, are you saying like the Pope and the other priests that are there, like they were like along the lines back in the day, those were the Pharisees of the Jews, and then they took over?
Yeah,
And
I
they-
believe they were the publicans and the gens were the Gentiles.
I think it's
Okay.
spiritual. I think it's like what Jesus showed was like Rome. It's like it's two different kingdoms, spiritual kingdoms. One, Rome, is what we see now. You see how the whole system is ran, and it's a top echelon. That's Rome. Jesus is showing the Father's kingdom is eternal in us. It's not
Right.
of this world. Nothing I see in
Exactly.
front of me it's only co-created by other souls, but it's not God's kingdom. So
Right.
the
His
heart,
kingdom is from above.
yeah. So
We are
the
from
heart is the
below.
opening to the kingdom of God, and that's why Jesus showed the balance.
Thank you for coming, Sally.
So, like, I could have a testimony that when I opened my heart, I started feeling a different way, like totally. And I think that's what John the Baptist part was, to show that when you are baptized in the flame of the heart, you open to the living waters and be baptized anew, walking in the kingdom of God, spiritually inner, not the outer. And you will see things totally different in the ways of the oneness. We're all beings because there's no separation. But the Roman kingdom is ran by the beast, and that's what the kingdom that Jesus said when the Father's return to this earth to reclaim it, the beast will fall. That's the Roman kingdom of Antichrist, Satan, Lucifer, elites, Illuminati, all these people that help build it to the top is gonna fall. That's why Rome is falling right now. It's spiritual. It's not a place like Israel or Rome. Like the Roman church in Europe, that's the Antichrist church. It's not a church of God. It was built to
Well,
deceive man.
yeah, you're starting to get it. Yeah, that's what we think.
Yeah.
Hey, Vic.
Hey, how we doing?
Doing pretty good. How are you?
Great topic. Just listening and loving the discussion. It's very
Thank you.
productive and inspiring. Thank you. Hey,
A lot of people aren't familiar with Antichrist, too. That word is not what it appears to be. Anti in first century, anti-theos meant godlike. So Antichrist meant they meant Christ-like. We have the wrong connotation on it. It can also mean deputy Christ, like one that steps in and takes the place of. So
Or like
you're
vice president, vice
vice president. If you say the vice president of Greece, they're an anti. The first four letters, the prefix is anti. So we've kind of got a distorted view of that. And so if you say Vicarious Christi, which is what the Pope calls himself, that is actually telling you that he is the Antichrist. And most people don't catch that.
Yeah, he served the Antichrist, but he's not the Antichrist is just now starting to reveal himself, since many of his armies is lost to the archangels these days. That's why he's so upset and wants to come out of the shadows and do what he can, but it's not going to work.
But see, Peter was the first pope, and they still worship him in Rome because they've got his chair there at the front of the St. Peter's Basilica is his chair, and it's elevated up, and it's got the two angels on the side.
Bones.
They have his bones under the altar, and the altar is a four-horn altar, just like is in Ezekiel. In fact, the Vatican matches the
Even
Ezekiel
up to the
temple.
steps, the temple matches.
It matches exactly. And over to the right is a big, giant-sized statue of him sitting in a chair with his hand
Yeah,
raised
they
with the...
worshipped it so much they worn the feet down on it.
Yeah, his feet are just literally being worn off.
These are extraterrestrials, though, like the dragons, like in Antarctica, like last 3 years, many ones from God's kingdom have been removing many dark ones from Antarctica, even took control of their bases. There's so many things that these dark ones know that's happening. They fear it. If you turn on the news, you can see the news media shaking because they don't know what to say, because everything that the dark ones is doing is falling. They don't know how to control the narrative anymore because
that
can't.
is true, because they're trying to keep us in a mind construct still. What we are in the age of Aquarius, where knowledge and wisdom is going to be poured out on us. It's inevitable that humanity is going to wake up, and they're trying to do everything in their power to not get us to wake up to see these things, because now we can study, we can see somebody to do the research that this lady's done, the host.
Yes.
I mean, in the 70s or the 80s, I mean, you would have to be extremely rich. You would have to be able to fly around. You would have to be able to look at all these things for yourself and, scrutinize it to the best of your abilities, and then, maybe write something about it. There was no internet. So we definitely are in the age of information, the age of knowledge. Things can be, like, we're talking on a TikTok live right now. We're probably so many states apart or whatever, and we can talk about these things. So clearly there's something happening with humanity.
You're on a new earth, my brother. This God's kingdom is here. And the sun show every Christian, everybody that been worshiping Jesus for it. I look and say, they don't even see the signs. Just as Jesus said, like that sun, it represents the new earth. It represents the new frequency. That's why everybody says global warming. What's going on? No, it's God's kingdom moving one out the way. That's what's happening on this earth. That's why.
Go ahead, Plank. Go ahead, Plank. You ain't talked all the whole time. You've been up here for a while. Go ahead, say something.
No, you're
Let's
good.
let Plank talk. No, don't talk. I want to hear what you have to say.
Well, I think that a lot is changing on Earth and around us. Like the sun, I no longer really think is the actual sun. There had been a little while ago where I had seen this video of like sunflowers pointing the other way, and I went to the sunflower.
I've seen things like that, and I could almost agree with you on that. But like,
how would that be possible? Like, I guess I was speaking. So my friend is that 999 Asher that you see. He's a really good friend of mine, and we had been talking one day, and I'm pretty sure he had stated that he thinks like China had implemented like a new sun into our like solar system, so to speak, I guess you could say, or call it.
Or yeah, I've seen these things.
And
then a lot of things going on.
CERN has been like manipulating energy like crazy, like trying to do like all this craziness. And recently, according to my research, I mean, you can only take research you find on the internet with a grain of salt, of course. So whether this is true or not, I cannot, it's kind of speculation.
Well, the sun feels different.
The sun definitely feels different, no doubt.
Yeah, the sun feels different, right?
It looks
so we
different.
can agree on that.
It's not the same color.
It's the new Earth sun. It's waking humanity's DNA right now.
You know, call
It's
it what you
possible.
want. It's like Child of Abba said there. You know, we are. He called it the age of Aquarius. Call it what you want. We are coming into a time in this realm that we have never seen before. And you know, I studied Christianity all my life. I have a bachelor's degree in pastoral theology. 43 years been studying
Oh,
this.
amazing.
And
Congrats.
I don't say that
Well,
to, I'm kind
well,
of,
I know.
it's more of a
Well, you
humbling
get what
thing
I'm
now
trying
than
to say,
anything.
right?
But
Yeah,
what I
because
want to
he's had
say
to
is,
reject a lot.
Yeah.
yes, and this is the power of the age of truth that's coming
I think
into our
so.
realm.
Yeah.
I'm
And,
saying that
A
2024.
lot of things
and
are going to be surfacing.
yes, it's very
Yeah.
beautiful and powerful. I
It's,
love it.
it's patterns that the light has to go by to help awake humanity. They can't just come down and do everything at once because it'll shake. They don't, the light, the beings above
Yeah,
do not
exactly.
want
You don't want to
shake
overwater the
humanity.
plant.
Yeah, so they're doing it.
Exactly.
Look, God already gave the goal for everything. Trust me.
No
And
doubt it's a part of it. Yep.
I wanted to give my take on Truth's thing. I know a lot of people think that this is the new heaven and the new earth has already come. I've heard that in a lot of the TikTok lives I've been in. But I don't think this will ever be Father's world because I'll tell you my reasons why.
Mhm.
It's like because Jesus told us that we were from below, and he was from above.
True.
Okay, if you read that in Greek, he's literally telling us that we are in Kato. Kato meant the underworld.
Right.
And he said if this were his world, that the Jews would not have been allowed to unalive him. Because his people would come and fight for him. And he also said, keep them safe while they're in the world from the evil one. So a lot of things he said indicated we're not in the right place. And he said he was the door out of here.
Mhm.
And
Because the
I think
serpent
that
still bites, the thorns are still on the roses. Like, hey, there's a lot of things here. You go and sit outside and get eaten up by a swarm of mosquitoes. This place sucks.
You won't walk the earth the same flesh. You will walk in
I think
forever.
it's part of an experience. I think we're supposed to be here. I think we're supposed to go through this, but I don't think that it's Father's kingdom.
Every soul
way.
volunteered. Every soul
I've
on
thought
this
about
earth
that. I've thought about
volunteered
that
to
too.
be here for these times. It don't matter if they're not aware, but they soul is. This is the biggest.
I have to somewhat agree with you because when I'm here, the only thing that makes sense to me is trying to talk to people about truth and trying to talk to people about it. And it seems like you're probably very similar, where you just have this overwhelming, I have to tell people about this. It doesn't matter what I'm doing in my life. It doesn't matter what's going on. It's like I have to try to wake somebody up. I have to try to tell them some sort of truth to try to get them to step closer.
You
And
can't
I
do
know that could be. I know it could be very frustrating, but that's why we're here now.
That's where we're at.
Yeah, you
We're
can't
here.
wait.
We're in this live. We're trying to
Yeah.
get people to see it, and that's super important. So we're not trying to be combative. We're not trying to be obtuse in any way. But at the same time, there's a lot of people still stuck in this religious mindset of like, oh, it's this and that, and they worship this book.
It's none of my business to wake them. It's God who's going to wake humanity. It's the ones above that has plans to wake the whole earth. That's why I learned not to get in
Just remember
or spiritual. When you
we
come
can still
full,
do something.
when you come
There's gonna
full
be
out
a
the
false
box,
prophet. Just
people
keep that
will-
in mind.
people will hate you. Just the knowledge you obtain with God. That's why God say the ones he send will keep certain things silent because it'll be poison to the people. But when you give the people too much knowledge, they will hate you because it's not of this world. And the knowledge not of this world is the knowledge of growth. And that's the knowledge of the one tree, God, in us.
Amen.
So, you can't wake these souls.
Ella Burns says the book is a guide. It's the main thing, but we have many contradictions in the book. This is what we're talking about. This is why there's profound contrast between this Yahweh character in the Old Testament and this Jesus that is teaching a totally different thing than whatever we learned from the Hebrew text. So when you see that, you're like, hold on, let me reanalyze everything that's going on, because I don't want to worship a book But I feel that the words of Jesus held a lot of truth, and I'm trying to stick with that. I could have thrown this whole thing out many times over, and I haven't. I've stuck on those words because they've changed me, and it sounds like it has for everybody else here on the panel.
Anunnaki, that help you? Anunnaki with Yahweh.
Something.
Anunnaki, Yahweh.
Yeah.
But Yahweh, I don't trust Yahweh.
That's Anunnakis. That's the Anunnakis. Those the ones, the dark, the fallen ones. That's in the Bible.
Probably.
And it'll come out. Trust me. All these things I'm saying is gonna come out.
I've ran into a couple actually.
They already fallen. That's why Jesus said, "I am." That's not the I am. I am Christ. The I am in Him, and He showed the Father because He was sent to lead our conscience another way. Because Yahweh was trying to lead our conscience another way. See, our conscious matches is very important to our divinity. And these beings know that. But Jesus is not going to come and say, hey, you should follow me. If follow me, I'm going to beat you. No, it's free will choice given by God for man to follow through these laws of the heart. But Yahweh turned the hearts of man. Still to these days, they still follow the Thoth way. See, each being has a way to bleed through for others, to lead the conscious of the lower vibrations higher through them. Some things the churches, they can never understand because it's not of this world. They wouldn't believe the power that beings like Yeshua, Jesus, Buddha, many ones have, even Yahweh. It's just my thinking. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, it's okay. It just, I see a lot of Yahweh in the other religious texts. So I see this dualistic nature with these God figures that they put in a lot of these religious texts where I'm like, it's... Because when I see Jesus, I'm like, nah, it's just one way. It's just Father is this, and He's like just like you've experienced, and you've seen the peace and the light and the true love and all that. Well, it's like, well, I don't see that with a lot of these other gods that are being talked about.
King David is down there in the comments, and he's ascribing to the old law in the Old Testament.
Oh, of course.
And
King David, I wouldn't expect.
I don't think a lot of people understand Jesus' message, because if they did, they would see that he was warning. I'm sorry.
Sorry, I was asking if Random wanted to come up. I didn't mean to interrupt you.
Come up. If he wants to come up, he can come up and say what he wants to say.
But I was going to tell him that parable doesn't mean what we were taught. But we were taught that it's some kind of mystical thing you got to figure out. But in the first century, if you were in a Greek class, they would have told you it come from parabole in Latin, and it meant to compare. So every time we hear Jesus say, I tell you a parable, He's actually saying, I tell you to compare. Okay, so when we look at what He says, like when He said, you've heard it said, an eye for an eye or a tooth for a tooth, but I tell you it's not so. He is actually comparing.
Eye for an eye, tooth for a tooth? That was Yahweh.
That's right. It's who He's comparing to, but most people don't see it. Like when He said, what father would give you a serpent when you ask for a fish? Okay, if you think back in the wilderness, when they were asking for fish in Numbers, it was Yahweh that gave them a serpents. Instead, it bit them and they died.
Serpents, that unlike many of them.
Wow, that's an excellent point. I never heard that before. That's awesome.
What father would give you a stone when you ask for a piece of bread? Well, if you go back to Numbers again, Numbers tells you that the manna was like coriander seed. It was like rocks, basically, and it had to be
ground up with a mortar.
And a mortar and a pestle in order for them to make bread. And we know in John He said, Moses gave you the law and the prophets, but Jesus gave us the truth. And I think that's what it comes down to. I think He was warning and warning and warning, like He said, you can't pick good fruit from a thorn bush. Well, Moses met Yahweh at a burning thorn bush. Now, you don't know that when you read it in English. You'd have to read it in Hebrew, but it was literally a thorn bush. I'm trying to think of some more. The 7 spirits, I shared those today. We have all kinds of verses where Yahweh sends out a lying spirit. He sends out a spirit of anger. He sends out a spirit of jealousy. He sends out spirits of, of covetousness, of stealing, of unaliving.
All these evil things. Yeah.
And it always says the Spirit of the Lord was sent out. He even sent out an evil spirit to Saul. I mean, it's so easy to see it. Once you see it, you can't unsee it. Because every word of his, when you read it, you can compare it to that Old Testament, and you're going to see that he was warning the whole time.
People out. You know, everything he did was opposite of Yahweh. Love. Yahweh showed hate. Yahweh showed chaos. Yahweh showed everything that Jesus said. The Father is love, without even judging Yahweh. That's how cold Jesus was.
But yeah, I mean, Jesus tells us, though, he says, no man has ever seen his face or shape. He's never heard his voice until this time. So whoever them Jews were talking to in the desert, that is not the Father that he came to reveal to us.
It's extraterrestrial. The Bible speaks a lot about extraterrestrials, but over my path in service, I learned that what Jesus mean when he said, my people will perish for lack of knowledge, because they only seek knowledge in one place. They shun every knowledge that's in the Bible because they don't understand the Bible to see the spiritual knowledge in the world before they spiritual eyes that's in them, not in the world. It's like a vision. Like when I watch the news, I discern the news because I know it's darkness and light in the world. So when I watch the news, I know it's not from my being. It's not from God. It's from Satan. Satan owns us.
That's interesting. But what artist is pointing out here, this dualistic God that we see in the Old Testament. When I look at Father, I see love, singular, not this, I love you, but if you do this, this, and this, I'm gonna beat you over the head with a stick. That's kind of, it defeats the purpose. I mean, we need love.
It comes down to the nature of the Father, the real nature.
What's a good loving father, though, even from our own understanding? Is it the drunken stepdad that beats you and says, "Oh, but I still love you"?
He said the works I do show you the Father. Okay, what kind of works was he doing compared to the works that Yahweh claims as miracles and stuff? Okay, like his works were healing the sick, the blind, the lame, raising people from the dead, and that he called them works. Now everybody says they're not works. He did them all on the Sabbath, which because he's calling them works, they're works.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay. Also, when you look at what Yahweh says, it's like, is a man not blind, deaf, or mute? Have I not done it? And Jesus gathers all the sick people to him, and he's healing them. Okay. Now, what does Yahweh do? Don't let those sick people in my temple. I don't want them near me. I mean, everything he did is a comparison. That's why they wanted to unalive him. They knew. They had to know. And to them, it was a lot clearer because, like, when you're sitting there saying he was a murderer, or he was a unaliver, and a liar from the beginning, in Greek, it's Genesis. It's like he said, a tree can't produce good fruit and bad fruit. Okay, well, how does the tree of good and evil do both?
And also, can a fountain bring forth both bitter and sweet water?
Right.
That's similar to what you just said, and it's that dualistic thing that everything he said out of his mouth. Churches cram down your throat. I mean, you better come down to this altar and pray some prayer or you're going to burn in this place for all eternity. Does that sound
That's
does that
doctrine.
sound like
That's
does
not
that
God.
sound like Father
Yeah,
to
it's
you?
not the Father.
No, God.
They
No.
don't understand that they were actually unaliving humans. Because Pishkal, the Pishkal lamb, Pishkal means a lame, crippled person. And they were to take one from each of their families. And then they were to cannibalize and eat it.
Yeah, that's
You know?
Yeah, I agree with you all the way. Like what you're speaking about is the heart, artist. The heart, like what you was just saying. Everything Jesus showed mostly is from the heart, because the heart is a living being. And when we connect, like in a unity way with God in the light, in our hearts, that living water opens. It opens, and you can go there anytime when it opens and be with the light, with one, all the beings, Jesus, art, and every being that you heard of is in your heart.
I cried like a big baby when I realized all this. I'm like, how could I have been so stupid all these years? How? My heart must have been blacker than black could be. I'm not kidding you.
That's okay. God knows.
She has a history in being Wiccan and understanding a lot of things outside of just what we're talking about. So she's got a lot of years of knowledge and things that I've learned from her. This person, the host, is
To whom much is
an
forgiven,
amazing person.
Yeah,
to
she
whom
is.
much is forgiven, they give a lot. And I'm giving a lot because he forgave me a lot.
Same
You
with
know?
me.
Yeah.
He knew that I would come around. You know, but it's like it took me dang near, almost my whole
Yeah.
life to do it.
It's
And I
not
just
like
want to
that.
help
That's
other
right.
people
Abba sees
do
our
it quicker.
hearts.
I want them to see it quicker than I did, so they can carry on when I'm gone and help other people see it. Because I think every generation sees the real Father, a select few, and then they get to go home.
They're going to see him this time. Like when you said that the past repeats, it's no more repeat. You're already in the new. So humanity is finna go through these stages. They already are right now. First, it's the age of truth. You're living in the age of truth right now.
Yes, I agree.
You're seeing the apocalypse of truth coming from all over the earth, because it's God activated all his life forces on earth. So even some people that you see in politics is part of the life forces. When you turn on the TV, you'll notice it. You'll say, dang, they made these people seem like they was evil, just like Jesus said, that he would have many everywhere in every bracket of this planet, because it's the Father said enough. So when God said enough, it's time for people to wait. It's time for them to know the truth. It's time for the dark forces
I think
to
that's
fall.
that time. I think that's I agree with you. I think
Father
that's the
loves
time.
everybody, each and every one of us, all our flaws, our dirty laundry, everything about us. He loves us anyway. It's incredible. It really is incredible.
That's where I think the church fails to make us understand these things.
Well, they teach it. They teach it. I used to teach it, but what good is it when you use fear tactics and you throw out, on the one side you say, "Oh, love and doves and peace and happiness to you," but on the other side of the mouth you're saying, "But if not, this is exactly this is Yahweh."
Torment.
Yeah, this is
And
Yahweh's
they should be saying,
way
if not,
of-
exactly, you're going to be down here
Rock, you
drudging
can
through
ask
it
your
again.
question.
Let me tell
I
you
think.
something. With Father, who I love now,
That's right,
I don't
Vincent.
have. I've been released from that, and when the Bible says the truth will set you free, that's all I can explain. That's the only way I can explain what I'm experiencing right now, when I have turned away from these traditional church teachings and this fear that somebody going to come out from behind a rock and knock me on the head with a stick if I don't just do right. That's all gone. I've been freed from that and released from that. It's very powerful.
Right.
Very powerful.
And yet what's
thing.
incredible is you don't even want those things anymore that drug you
Yes.
down. It's like they're
Yes.
gone. They're out the window.
Yes,
once you
exactly.
figure it out, it's amazing.
So it's really been life changing for me. Appreciate y'all letting me in here, and I want to say this is. I already said this earlier. This is very inspiring to me. And I'm 65 years old, and to be listening to people getting together and breaking this stuff down finally, things that I've been questioning for 43 years are
Yeah.
getting
Yeah.
broken down. People are starting to ask questions, and therefore the truth is coming out. It is
That's
just,
right.
I would have, I'm so grateful I didn't miss this. And better late than never, I think I could say.
Yeah, right, Vic. I'll say the same thing too.
Yeah, it's
Absolutely.
just, and for this younger generation coming up, I don't know the ages of anybody in here. I'm telling you, grab the baton of truth and keep carrying it. I mean, I got your back. I'll do anything I can. But
Yes.
Yeah,
it's
no,
beautiful.
we appreciate it. It's just a
Mhm.
lot to try to even speak and say
Well,
some of these things we're saying.
Yeah, welcome to the new
yeah,
earth. You see
Yeah,
some new
so
earth already. It's already
I,
here.
I think I think it could be that thing, but
This
I
it's
is
don't.
still it's not. Oh, go
I
ahead,
don't know.
Rose.
I don't know if the person is still in the room, but it was called Jump Rock One. Said they wanted to ask a question.
Yeah, I told them to ask the question
Oh,
Okay.
what they want to
come
ask.
up in the box if you need
Yeah, I mean, come
to
up.
hop down.
Sure, yeah. I mean, if you want to hop down, that's fine. So they can come up. That'd be great. I'd
Yeah,
love somebody to talk. Thanks so much for coming up, Blaine.
yeah, of course.
yeah, man.
Thank you for always being yourself, Abba. You're the man. I've seen you before, and you're always good. So we
I
Thank you
appreciate
for
appreciate it.
joining us tonight.
Nice meeting you too.
Yeah,
Yes, of course.
man.
No, I just
Thank
want to
you for
give Father's
having
love to
me.
everybody.
I'm
Yeah,
gonna
blessings to you.
actually, if you just want to drop me, so that way it doesn't. I don't know if
How do I?
it's
I think I
the
can do it. I
truth
think I
about
can do it.
messing with algorithms or not, but just in case.
You should be
I
able
got
to,
you. I
Nate.
got you. I can drop you. Hold on one second. I got you.
Okay, just because there's a good amount.
They
Oh,
said
well, dang, he wasn't done talking. But I dropped him.
they asked their
Somebody can
question.
come up.
Do you throw out all of the Old Testament, or is some of it good?
I don't think none of it's good, to be completely honest. I think it's all a bunch of Jewish whatever.
I think it's good for
Yeah.
comparison reasons because that way we can show the truth. But as far as following any of it, no,
Yeah,
I
I
wouldn't.
don't. I think maybe you could put some historical value on it, but as far as deliverance of truth,
Yeah, I'm like, we're going to live by it? I don't think so. Because Jesus is saying very highly contrasting things against it.
Yeah.
Yes,
I would
yes.
say
Yeah.
to each his own soul's journey. One thing I learned is belief is only belong to thyself or that being, and to tear they belief is to put
Right.
poison.
Everybody's at a different spot.
Yeah.
Everybody's at a different position. We don't know where people are at. So and that's why we don't want to be yelling and arguing and all these TikTok lives. They just, you're wrong. And it just goes so left field that it's like, man, what are we doing here? Is this productive?
Yeah.
Are we
I've been
really
doing this
constructing anything?
Been doing this
Right.
a long time, brother, with all races, and I learned one thing: not to put a hand on a belief, but just have a nice relationship, a loving relationship with people, and that'll get me past any
Yeah,
religion.
that's right. I've enjoyed talking with you.
It's,
It's very
you know,
pleasant.
That's
Likewise,
a
brother,
good
always.
attitude. That's a good attitude right there, because hold on to the love and hold on to the Father. Some things that we believe they're going to change throughout our lives, and but one thing that won't is that we're loved by Father.
Yes, all is
Yes, yes,
one. If people
Right
actually
on, man.
see the inner of people, they will have more compassion, because most people I see, they don't. It's like trauma. Like life can build trauma that you don't even know that turn your heart a certain way, and in many hearts. What Jesus mean by turn bitter or turn hardened is because of sometimes belief, sometimes emotions of life. Sometimes some women get done dirty, some men, it's just so many things. But what Jesus showed, like certain things to me, not to focus on religion, not to focus on beliefs, only focus on the good in the world. And that's how you change yourself to help change the world.
Thank you, Bella, for helping us achieve our goal.
Somebody was asking
Yes,
about the
thank you for all the
Sabbath. Somebody was asking a question. What about keeping the Sabbath? Yeah, I'll
The
answer that.
Sabbath is Jewish, no doubt. Yeah, go
Yeah,
ahead.
it's
Go ahead.
no, that's do
This
this
is
and
coming
do
from
that
people
and do
that
this and do
we
that,
kept
or else
Sabbath.
yeah,
We used to.
I don't know where it's written.
yeah.
It's in Matthew, Mark, Luke, or John, but it does say that Jesus said his Father works until this day, which means his Father never took a break.
Exactly. So the real father was not, he was not keeping a Sabbath.
No, I don't believe he was. I don't think he's into
I
this,
don't
do
know what
this,
it
do
is.
that. And, well, that stuff is exhausting, man. It'll run you ragged,
And that
I don't know
Sabbath
how
thing
people
can be a
do it.
mark for
Yeah,
Yahweh too, because
man, I don't, yeah,
they consider it his mark to keep his Sabbath, and
mhm.
they put that phylactery on their head, and the phylactery has a shin on it, and a shin is 3 vowels put together, and the rabbis will tell you that that stands for 666. Then they put one on their wrist and they wrap it 6 times. And I believe all this kind of morphs into the electronic age with the cube thing, because even the new computers coming out, the towers are called the cube, and it looks just like a phylactery box. And www is a shin in Hebrew, and it's 666. It's 3 vowels together.
Yeah. It's
And
the
a cubix in the Old Testament, in modern Hebrew, is a quantum computer. And if you take like Isaiah, where it says, "Has anybody looked at the books? Has anybody counted the towers?" It's actually in modern Hebrew. It says, "Anybody looked at the algorithms? Has anybody counted the megadials?" And the megadials are what are the cell towers that bring your internet to you and your phones and all.
Yeah, you're very accurate, very knowledgeable artist. It's that's what the grid is. The grid that they put up over humanity, the dark ones. It's like electronic, but like we all know by now that this is a matrix. So, in this illusion, the 666 grid that they put up, it keeps humanity conscious at a lower state, and they can keep coding this grid and keep coding it. This grid is not on Earth; it's off of Earth. So, what the angels had to do is they had to block this from the sun, and then they had to change the grid from the old grid to the new grid. So now the new grid is up. It's a crystalline grid, and that's why the sun is shining rays onto this new grid, and it's coming into the earth, and it's changing people DNA to Christ DNA. That's why people
And
believe.
Oh, well.
the like the internet it comes in on what is called a per cable, and that's in there too. The per cable coming into your home, and also the iota is in there too. Iota is in everybody's homes, and nobody even knows what an iota is. An iota is a way they're going to be able to control whether you have electricity, internet, all those kind of things. It's connected to your Wi-Fi, and they can cut you off of any service they want to cut you off. It's going to run on cryptocurrency.
They can shut your truck off, your car off if they want now. I mean, people don't even realize how fragile all these mechanical things in our life are. And, I want to if you'll allow me, I wanted to back up what True Blue there was talking about this grid thing laying out. Now, I don't prescribe too much into that, but I want to say there's a certain element of truth to that, what they are doing to humanity right now, to the dark ones, as he described it, to hide the truth and to keep the truth suppressed, because I'll tell you, there's only one thing that's going to set us free from all of this, folks. And I'm going to put it on my tombstone. The truth will set you free. And, I encourage everybody, every moment of the day, ask Father to show you the truth, and it will come to you. And
Yeah,
it'll
all
come
you got to
you
do
in a
is ask and
powerful
he'll
way.
help.
I believe
Yes.
that too.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
listening to
Just
the
show me
testimonies.
truth. Show me the next
That-
step.
That testimony that artist gave, and some of the others in the room tonight, about this supernatural experience that they had, where they may have saw something or heard something. These things are real. These people are talking about real things that happened in their life. My wife has described some of these things to me, and this is him reaching through this grid or whatever, and through some kind of divine intervention, touching people. It's man, I'm really enjoying the.
This new grid represents God's new kingdom. It's already here. That's why everybody feels different now. That's why people looking at the churches and the preachers like, I don't resonate with this no more. The whole earth is waking.
Oh, I know it well.
Well, see, Jesus told us, he said, unless those days have been cut short, no life would have been saved. For
Matthew
the sake
24.
of the elect, those days will be cut short. Okay. Before the word days, both times, in the Greek is the word AI.
Isn't that something? Wow.
They didn't translate it because they didn't think it had any English equivalent at that time. So it should read, unless those AI days had been cut short, no life would have been saved, but for the sake of the elect, those AI days will be cut short. And that word for flesh means unaltered flesh, normal, natural flesh.
Once they created. Yahshua said recently that it's 1.2 billion clones walking the earth that was created by the dark forces. They're in our politics, they're in our corporations, they're everywhere. Those are the soulless ones that he spoke about that will be destroyed. They already, you see, they're falling apart.
I think a better name would be demons, but
Ella Burns, would you
Good
like to
point,
come
though.
up? She's talking a lot. I want to know if she wants to come up and speak.
You know where it says, just as lightning comes from the east and flashes even to the west, will be the coming of the Son of Man be. Okay, the lightning is the word per. That's the internet cable stuff, and it comes from the east and it flashes. We can flash on everybody could see it on their computer screens all at the same time. He comes in the clouds. Well, the cloud is the Nephilim, and the Nephilim is what runs our computers. They call it the Nephilim. It's like all this matches up. You just have to you have to go down and look at the Greek word, and you can see it like the image of the beast is in the word in Greek is icon. The sword is a Mac Air, like a Mac Air computer. And everybody will think I'm crazy, but all of it's there.
Oh, no.
It's all there.
I don't think you're crazy.
Ella,
I
you
don't
just
think.
came up. Did you want something? Did you want to say something?
Hey, Ella.
Hi. How are you?
I'm good. How are you guys?
Yeah, we're
Great.
doing all right.
Planked actually showed me your guys' page and everything.
Oh, okay.
And like at first I was kind of a little, backtracking because I was like, saw the sign. However, he did tell me, don't worry about the background. And then I was listening to you guys and, you get into it. Obviously that book was written for us now, for us people that are awakening and figuring out, because the creator, want to call him,
Right.
is guiding us.
That works. That works. Yeah.
So there's a lot of bad around us that we have to combat and, whatever. And yeah. It sucks. But we're going to get out of here.
Living here? Living here sucks? Yeah, we know.
I mean, it's just...
Seeing what's happening in the world. Change.
It's great, but I mean, it's going to get better once we get that peace part, but it's a struggle.
Yeah, humanity gotta face these lessons coming forward, so they can't bring that dogma into the fifth dimension. So they can always remember these things, because it's the end of third dimension. It won't be no more lower. It will only be above for beings, the new earth. And look at the earth. What Gaia is saying recently, the planet, is that we poison everything. We poison the water. We cut down all the trees over many incarnations. Our forefathers. It's no more room for change for humanity to wait. That's why God said, enough, go in, remove the dark forces. The sun is shining its light. Everything is in motion already. And that's why Jesus said they would still be living in marriage. They would still be doing this, and they'll be blind. And these things will sneak on them like a thief in the night.
Exactly.
Yeah, and this is a biggie too. The one book that's under attack in the New Testament more than any is the book, the Gospel of John.
John, yeah.
And John tells us the spiritual part
favorite.
of things. Yeah, okay. I want y'all to listen to this. It's like, there came a man sent from God whose name was John. He came as a witness to testify about the light, so that all might believe through him. He was not the light, but he came to testify about the light. There was the true light, which was coming into the world. Okay, that's the first time he mentions the world. Enlightening every man. He was in the world. That's the second time. The world was made through him. That's the third time. And the world did not know him. That's the fourth time. And then we've got in our book, he came to his own, and those who were his own did not receive him. Well, who is his own? That's a reflexive pronoun in Greek. The subject was the world. 4 times it was said, the world, the world, the world. Not one group of people. It should have been he came to the same, and the same did not receive him.
That's right.
It's not about one group of people. It's all of us, and it's for us today. It was us for yesterday. It will always be for us. For every one of us.
Yeah, I agree.
Yep.
I agree.
I agree. That's something. Wow.
I'm going to continue a little bit, though. But as many as received him, to them he gave the right to become children of God. And that's not son, as a lot of people say. Son would be just males. But he said in Greek it's children. It means everybody, female and male.
Yeah.
To those who believe in his name, who were not born of blood, that means race, nor of the will of the flesh, your DNA, nor of the will of man, but of God. So when everybody tells you this is only for one select group of people, don't believe them.
Yeah.
Because I think this book is special.
I do think that we've been reincarnated so many times. However, I think that this book particular was written for right now.
Could be. I mean, they're definitely trying to reenact a lot of things and play a lot of things out on this world stage theater. So we have a lot of that going on.
Yeah, no, she makes a valid point.
If you'd have asked me when I was little, if I was going to be living in the end time of everything, I would have thought you were nuts. Ask me today at 64, yeah, I think we are.
Yeah, I think we are.
I don't think this is the end times. I'm not gonna lie. Okay, not trying to be I'm,
You're
I
starting to
got
sound like us.
because I am.
No, we all are. Go for it. We're listening.
So about 8 months ago, I surrendered to Jesus Christ on accident, and I got here, basically. Like I awoke consciousness, and it wasn't on accident, but it was just kind of like at first I was like,
So we'll walk us through it a little bit more deeply because I want to understand
Right.
what you're saying.
so
Explain. Can you elaborate on your experience?
So 8 months ago, I happened to lose pretty much everything. I mean, it started way before that, but I think the nail on the cross was me losing my job. And, you know, it was to me like the end of the world because I also lost like a best friend that I finally got close to because I'm a very closed off individual. However, I'm not anymore. Sorry, I'm outside.
That's okay. I was just curious about your personal experience and how you came to. So you said something about Christ, but for us.
Well, I tried to unalive myself.
Okay.
And
Very dark place then mentally where you were at.
yes.
I've been there. I've been there, so I get that.
And I am starting to see everything, my gifts. But anyway, I surrendered to God because, to Jesus Christ, because of the simple fact that I was going to unalive myself. And I said, you know what, I have one next shot because if not, the Drano is going down me. And I was...
Don't do that. Don't do that.
I was thinking about... I guess my back was in pain and my head was all very negative and I was having this pounding headache. And so I started thinking positive and then my back pain was getting reversed. So then once I surrendered to God after the whole back pain situation and figuring out that our mind... keeping positive is the best medicine.
It's very powerful. That's absolutely true.
So when I
no frequency, you should always keep positive thoughts.
I agree.
I mean, if you're just sitting there saying all the time, "Oh, well, this is bad gonna happen to me. Oh, this is not," yeah. I mean, you're definitely gonna call that into your life. For me being a little bit younger than some of the other people on the panel and living through my life still, I've noticed that tremendously. So, can definitely agree with that.
hold on real quick. I just want to finish this up because I have ADHD.
Yeah, go
so
ahead.
When I turned around and I surrendered to Jesus Christ, he came to my head. He was the first voice that ever popped in that was not mine. And I saw him. I talked to him. He's real. And
there it is. We keep hearing this over and over again. And I had a very similar experience. And probably everybody in this room tonight has experienced this. That's beautiful. Well, you're on the right track, girl.
Yeah, well, I am, but I'm having a tough time dealing with it because I would like to just feel normal.
I don't think that's gonna happen, but maybe you will in this panel. But it's very hard to talk to regular everyday people, because here's the thing: if you're on the front end of what we're talking about, and you even understand a little bit of what we're saying,
I'm in spiritual warfare every day.
Yeah. And same for me. I want to give you some encouragement because my friends and people that are around me, they do not understand the things that I want to talk about and I'm passionate about, but I still love them. I still want to give them this love that I've learned from reading about Jesus and the Father and these things, because without any application, it's pretty much worthless. So if you're learning and you're just gaining all this knowledge, but then you don't
Well,
have any application, and I'm
I've
not
always
saying that you
seen,
don't. I'm not saying that you
um,
don't.
no, I know. I'm just, because I think you guys believe that I am something. Um,
Yeah, you're a
look,
person. Yeah, you're here. You're
yeah,
talking.
well,
Everything that
I'm
you're
a
saying
soul.
is very important.
I'm a soul. Um,
Absolutely.
Feel overwhelmed like that,
um,
you know. Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
but before that, I've always been able to make things happen, manifest,
Okay.
was really easy to me. And when it stopped manifesting, I like literally was like, oh, okay, maybe that was just in my head.
It's from what
Well,
you've been dealing with. Like I see, like
yeah. I
you
mean,
went
yeah. If you've been,
through, you went through a lot of situations in the last 3 years, and it didn't go so well.
Actually,
Even
yeah, for the last 3 years, I guess you can say I was at peace for a little bit. You know what I mean? I was getting by everything. But before that, I had a rough childhood. So,
yeah,
oh, yeah. I've been through that.
yeah.
That horrible
You know, it's
childhood.
just
How
put
old are
your.
you, Ella?
oh, I'm 31.
Oh, okay. All right. I'm 35. I went through a pretty traumatic childhood and things living with a single mother that was extremely naive and wrapped up in a lot of this religious stuff. She was so naive that she couldn't see the evil right in front of her. And then I started to realize, like, hold on, these people that maybe follow and believe all this stuff don't got all the answers because they can't even see the evil right in front of them. So I, I can relate on some things, and I'm sorry, I'm not trying to say, oh, I know everything that you've gone through,
No,
but
but you resonate and you're empathizing.
oh, absolutely, yeah, because I mean, I've been through some horrific
Well, obviously,
experiences
because only
that my mom put me through that just I wish I didn't have to go through, but
and
she
all
was so
that
locked
bad.
in on this religious stuff that I was like, okay, somebody, is God really speaking to this person? Because they can't even see a person that's pure evil right standing in front of them. They're going to marry a person that's pure evil. So how does this person, so their discernment, to me, I'm like, oh, no, I think the discernment's a little off. I think there might be some truth here, but, I'm just looking at it everyday life, like what I got to go through. So I get what you're saying. And I'm not downplaying anything that you're saying either. Just for the record.
No,
But
no. I understand that. So I'm not offended or anything like that.
oh, okay, good. That's what I was making sure of.
No,
You know,
no.
you know the best way to help remove that trauma even from your chest. You could even lay your hand on your chest, right by your heart, in silence. And me, sometimes I like to call on I am or even my soul. My soul always answers me. And when you hold your hand on your chest, that's touching your heart chakra. So you can ground that communication. And you can even ask your soul, what do you need to do to remove that trauma? Your soul will help
What's
you
the
do
next
it.
step?
Even,
Father, help me. Like,
even you
I'm
can.
very intuitive. I'm very like I'm not
oh,
trying
okay.
to tell you what I am or anything like that.
It's like you can call on the angels. Like when you hold your hand on your chest, you touching your chest
I love
plate and your
angels.
heart. And like many beings of light help me remove my trauma. It's not easy to remove trauma from childhood, many lifetimes. That's why Jesus said we
Right.
can't do it
Right.
alone. I'm very telepathic
So
and
do you
all
guys
those
believe?
things. I still call on
Go
the
ahead.
light.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
So do
Let
you guys
Ella.
believe that astrology is all tied in too?
Well, I believe that it's a construct in which we live in. I've studied it in the past couple of years. So is there certain things about it? Because even the host and Pap here, like we've talked about a lot of these things. Because I think that Christianity wants us to throw out a lot of things about astrology. But as much
Everything's
as I've
connected.
researched and my understanding of it now is like there is a very deep inner working of the construct that we are a part of that it's kind of hard to deny that there isn't something going on with that. So I can speak a lot about astrology, but I don't know what you want to ask specifically. Come on, baby, come in.
Well,
Sorry,
honestly,
my
it's
dog
a
in.
tool. It's a tool. I believe
Right.
that.
Tool to understanding
Actually,
things. But
I mean, it's a
here's
great
here's what I was
tool.
going to say, because I really think that even the Gnostics and a lot of older religious groups, they believed in astrology. It's not even a belief, really. It's just an understanding. It's almost like how nature works. It's when seeds know to germinate and all these things in the seasons happen and nature knows what to do. I think that that's what astrology is. I think it's a construct. I think that it is a part of the nature in which we live in, that people just want to deny and say that it's not a part of anything. The stars and things don't do things, but you're going against a lot of ancients saying things like that. So, but I also think that with Jesus, we really do, because if you're going to read astrology and you're going to read into all these things about astrology and you're going to say, oh, well, I'm this or I'm that and I'm this year and I'm that month, okay, all right, that could be part of who you are, personality, things that are happening. But Jesus is really, even with the Gnostics, they even believed that he was there to help us transcend above this Yahweh nature world that we live in because we're from below.
Yeah, but
So,
like everything is connected.
She's
yeah,
right. It's
I mean,
everything.
Yes, she's
Everything
right.
one.
yeah.
So like
every
even the red moon that I just saw, I didn't see any astrologers even looking at that, even talking about it. You see, like low vibrations only go by their forefathers, but the universe go by higher knowledge, higher wisdom, higher frequency. So
I can agree.
no way. It's only like nobody's really talking about the true astrology. That's the part that wiggles me on this.
Well,
This
Well,
because we're
well, it's been
confused. A lot of people,
demonized.
yeah, and
Yeah.
astrology's
I
been
mean,
demonized. But
Yeah, I
I
mean,
But we have the Western and the Eastern, and really it's a combination of the two. So, everybody will say, oh, well, I'm this in this month or whatever, but then you're throwing out a whole other thing that people thought about astrology, because the Chinese in the Eastern world, they they took it real serious. It wasn't even like a belief system. It was just a part of, like I was saying, like the construct of where we live.
well,
the
And
let's
space
I'm
look
not
at it
throwing
this.
those things out.
Can I add something here that we
Go ahead.
know is a fact? The reason they knew Jesus was coming, do you know how they knew?
The age of Pisces was coming.
Yes, they saw it in the stars, and they knew it was time for him to arrive. And but yet here, as we come
Well,
into
and then
the
with
end,
Moses and
nobody
things, we
knows.
were in the age of Aries and the war and all the
Right?
combativeness.
I'm
It's like,
Can
go
I
ahead, go ahead.
interject there?
Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely. You're the
yeah. I
host.
mean,
Being,
yeah, well, you're
being
the
a former
host.
Wiccan for 14 years before, really believing, it's like I tend to throw it out as far as like any kind of having any relevance for me. But like Vic was saying, that the stars, they knew the stars, they knew that JC was coming that way, but they knew nothing about
Right.
father's son coming. It's like I think that
Right. Exactly. They
I would
knew the
err on the
Christ was
side of
coming.
caution. Let's put it that way, because
Yeah.
Yeah, because we're getting into a Yahweh construct of this world, and
Yeah, I
we're
can see
wrapping
where.
ourselves into things. But to totally negate it all and to say, oh, it's all BS, it's just not true. It's not true that it's all BS. A lot of people, especially Christians, want to throw it out completely. And I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that I try to align myself with Jesus and the teachings of the Father, which can help me transcend above all these things and the constructs of which I live in. So I know that, okay, I'm born in this month or I'm born in this year, and I may have struggles in my life, because if I read about my zodiac sign and things about my year and my month, and I'll say, well, wow, I kind of can relate to those things. But there's a lot of negative connotations that's going to come along with that. And then if you don't align yourself with these teachings, are you really going to transcend above all these things that are in this construct of this world? I don't think so, because Jesus is telling us the truth about a lot of different stuff that's like, well, don't do this, don't steal, don't do, all these things. But it's not like Yahweh says. Yahweh's given us the dualistic nature of both. So he's saying, oh, it's okay if somebody does this and that, you can unalive them or whatever. But Jesus is saying, nah. Forgive and do this. So if you have a zodiac sign,
in our nature, it's in our nature to sin. So we're gonna screw up.
Right.
Evil does consume us. Evil does consume us, and guess what?
Guess what? What?
We need to be forgiven, and we have to forgive ourselves first, and then ask to be forgiven from God.
Yeah, I agree. Like the balance of our
agree.
hearts. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Poppy.
It's
But we're in a duality.
it's
Earth is a duality. If everything was so happy, you want to know something? That's heaven. In heaven, there's no pain. I've seen clips of it.
Right.
There's no
pain. That's what we believe.
There's no duality.
We know we can just have conversations, and everybody's pretty much on the same conscious level.
Yeah, because we have the knowledge.
Freaking amazing.
It's the heart
Blessed day.
Yeah, we can't wait for the day.
Yeah, I can't wait for that day.
You wouldn't follow. You wouldn't follow. That's what Jesus means. Be in the world, but not of it. Open your heart to agape to see the world. So even ignorant people I still send love that way. Even a guy that's shooting us, I still would send love through myself, through the light of a full cup.
Well,
every soul
you're
has
getting what we're saying.
Every soul has make mistakes in this world that's very corrupt, but everyone has a chance to come to God. It's not up to me to judge the next. It's not up to nothing in me to see another man as Lord. It doesn't matter how much knowledge I gained in me. It's like when your heart is open, you open it to the world, not just in self-righteousness, because the divinity in you is in everybody too. So to me, it's like nothing special about but
here's the reality of it. You have to choose if you want to be on the dark side or actually be on the light side. And you might even be dark, but you might be trying to get the hell out of the darkness. So you literally have to make a choice.
Right.
You have to choose the light. Yep.
It's different, and this is above us. It's a plane, and this plane, when people pass on, they go to this plane. It's not like the Church of Man say, "Oh, we go and we be with the Father for eternal." Just sit there having playing tarts. That's how I see. I've never been to church. That's how I see many Christians see.
You don't gotta go to church to understand what we're.
I've never been. I respect all the West. I've never been, so I can't speak like with scriptures, and I just speak from my heart.
We're not about that specific. We really talk about this a lot because we're trying to show people that what's even in there is not what they're being taught in their churches. And that's probably the biggest point we're trying to push across here.
You got to let the Bible speak to you.
I never read the Bible either.
And you need a guidance. You need a really good teacher to be with you. Like a guidance that you feel like is not bullshit.
Yeah,
that is on the same level.
Ella, do you know about the two Jesuses?
Yeah, you want to know something? Like I said, I told you I saw Jesus Christ. I had to ask questions. I didn't want to ask any of these questions. I didn't even want to go through that state. But I saw what I saw, and it wasn't. Okay. It was beautiful. It was beautiful. But I mean, like,
hey, Sean.
It was unexpected. It was like someone crept up on you. Like creeped. Anyway.
Yeah. No, I understand what you're saying.
So there's a lot. Okay, I think the Bible is a beautiful story, but I also think it's a contradiction in itself.
Yeah,
it's
there's
also
a lot of contradictions.
Yes,
exactly.
There you go.
Yeah.
So here's the deal. People need to let the Bible let God guide you through the Bible. It's like Bible divination. I've done it several times. He speaks to me. You don't have to memorize, but maybe you should memorize, the Bible, at least the good quotes, because here's the deal. We deal with demonic forces. And
Yeah, we definitely do.
we need to pull things off, because other than that, we're SOL.
I have to agree.
Discern, Ella? This is respect. Like, can you discern?
I'm working on it right now.
So-
I'm
We
actually,
all are. We all are. We all are working on
I'm
it.
not.
I'm
I'm
asking
not-
that question because how long have Christianity been around?
A long time
for
now.
over
How,
apparently 2,000 years.
and when you walk in a church, how many can discern?
Not many.
0. Well, me.
Very few.
Well,
Very
so-
few.
Here's the deal. I've only seen one priest in my life, and two priests, and they probably had their own bullshit they had to deal with, but like they were always given, and they were always like good to me.
Okay.
So, but when I was like 8 or 9, I denounced Jesus. I went into church and I said, there is no fucking way. Excuse me.
No, I found
Yeah.
that
I mean,
Christians, when you
I
understand.
I'm gonna
She
tell
made
I
a
you,
can
good point.
understand. I understand. We all
I
understand
didn't believe
that.
in Mary, but guess what? She did get pregnant by God. Want to know why?
Well.
Wait, can I tell you why?
You can
I'm gonna
say
tell
it.
you this.
All right, go ahead. I'm gonna say something.
It
though.
wasn't hard for me. I just never wanted to ever get pregnant, like with this person.
You've been
I was
pregnant
with.
before? Or?
No.
Okay.
I felt from that day the immaculation of behold, right,
Hold on.
was correct.
You're breaking up a little bit. I
Information
didn't
is
hear
with. We can also. Okay. All right. Hello. Okay. Hold on.
Yeah. Sorry, you were breaking up some. Your signal is real bad. I couldn't hear everything you were saying. I'm sorry.
Oh no, I think it's better. I'm sorry. I was kind of like walking a little bit away, but I'm.
No, it's okay.
So I believe in Mary's immaculate conception because of the simple fact when, like, I knew the day
Okay. But
that I got
here's
pregnant.
something to
That
consider.
moment. Hold on. That moment.
Okay.
I knew what was going on. I knew I was and everything, and it turned out to be true.
Okay.
And I felt the sperm and the egg. I felt it all happen. That's fucking weird.
You know,
So,
I
but
asked you
it
that
made
question.
me think about it like a year later. Hold on. A year later, that it came together, and me finding Jesus, 8 months ago, almost 9 months ago, basically made me believe all real.
Okay.
Everything.
You know, I asked you that question, Ella,
Why?
because I went to church one time, about 2 months ago. Somebody asked me, and when I walked in and discerned, it was more negative people in there than good.
Oh, that's why I don't go to church. That's why I don't go to church, because there's too many
Right.
negative energies, and I can't deal with negative people.
But
Hold on one
see-
second. My neighbor.
Okay.
Hi.
Okay.
Oh, no, never mind.
Well, okay. So, what I was going to say is that we have Jesus's words, right? We have them in the Gospels, and he's telling us it's over 40 times that he was sent. When in John 3:16, only begotten Son. Only begotten means monogene, monogenetic, of one gene, not born of a woman. He was sent. When we start to go into the virgin birth thing, we're getting into a lot of different religions that also have this virgin birth story, that also show this dualistic Yahweh nature. So I just and wanting to say these things, because if you're really paying attention to everything that's going on with all these different types of religions, it's always got this virgin birth thing going on. And every time we see the virgin birth, Christians especially, when they see that virgin birth thing, they say, oh, it's the devil. Oh, it's this and that, whatever. Well, but what about your own Christ? He was born of a virgin. So is it still that way? Because Jesus is telling us, and like I said over 40 times, he was sent, monogenetic, from one gene. That's what the Greek says. And they've told us a narrative, they've sold us a story about this Jesus character to lead us to believe that, Jesus was this Christ figure, and they take all his words and they say everything and they put it into this story, and then they say, oh yeah, this is the one. And then you wonder why you go into a church and you don't feel nothing. You're not feeling anything of what Jesus was saying. You're not relating with nothing. Because they're tying it back to that Christ figure, and they're tying it back to Yahweh. So they're understanding. Look, if you think that God, or whatever you want to call him, is dualistic in nature, as a human being, you will emulate that. If you think subconsciously that that is your creator and that is your God, you're going to act that way, dualistic in nature, because you think that he is both. But Jesus tells us who the Father really is, and there is no darkness in him. Otherwise, we would have a kingdom divided. So Father is only good, and he is only loving, and he's only these things that we know. So that's
why don't many church of man discern? You could discern powerful when the Holy Spirit is in you strong, right?
Well, I'm just speaking from his words. That's it. I'm just trying to let my dog
what I'm
out
saying
here.
is the words is old now. You look at the world. Look how many people,
I mean, I see the world. Yeah, it's messed up.
Look how many people that's been in religion for eons, and they waking up to slumbers and feeling like they have no knowledge. Truth.
Well,
truthful. It's because when they go into church, they learn from what they call their elders, even the elders.
Right.
So when they learn these practices, it becomes their physical tools, not spiritual. So when they worship, they bring you closer to God, but that's not, many beings that's really, really, really woke these days, which route they took? They took the narrow road that Jesus spoke.
Well,
and that narrow road. Road.
Hello, smiling. I don't know how to pronounce your name, but hello.
Just say
that narrow road is in us.
Hi, Nani.
Hello.
So now at this part we in a golden age, look how many religious people are slumbering, and I always catch them in spiritual lives now, because they seeking more knowledge of self to keep going. And God plant spiritual beings all over this earth. That's what he means by the first will be last and the last will be first, because that's not a hateful word. That means the ones that stuck, the spiritual ones, will lift them out of that slumber as they leave this ignorance of the darkness.
Let's let Nani say something. If she just joined the panel. Thank you so much, True Blue, for talking and contributing.
Thank you for letting me up. I was raised up. I quit studying with them when I was 13 because my elder that was studying with me, he was the elder of the church.
Were you Catholic? Or what were you?
My parents were Jehovah's Witnesses.
Oh, okay.
Oh, yeah. So here's the good part. Okay.
Go ahead. Speak.
I had a learning disorder. I was ADHD, ADD, and this was the only person that could deal with me. When I was at 13, he flat out got frustrated with me and told me that if I did not buckle down and learn and study and be baptized before I turn of age, then my parents would have to disown me.
Oh, how lovely. That sounds like father to you, huh?
I have sat with him for like
Thanks for coming up.
4 years.
Thanks for coming, Vic.
And all he's talked about is this great God and what he meant for us on earth and how we need to follow his, everything was going good until he told me that my parents would have to disown me if I did not
Yeah.
become Jehovah's Witness or baptized before I left the home. I stood up in God's fear, my mother, not my daddy, but my mom, my mother. And
How
I
old
looked
were
at
you?
that lady. I was 13.
Oh, you were young. Okay.
I
How old
was
are you now?
young. I'm 30. I'm 52.
Mm.
I looked at him and I told him, I said, Brother
Thanks,
John,
Rose, for coming.
I've had it. I can't take it anymore.
Thank you, Rose.
The
Enjoyed having you.
God
Sorry,
that-
I didn't mean to interrupt.
Oh, it's okay. I told him, I said, the God that you have taught me about, the loving God, the forgiving God,
Right.
would never, ever ask my parents to disown me just because I don't
That's
decide to
right.
become a Jehovah's Witness.
Right. Even for the children and vice versa. It just
And
seems so wrong, doesn't it?
yes, I would. I mean, yes.
Okay.
I gave him all the books. I said, here, go give them to somebody else that needs them. I'm done with you. And I did. I feared for my mother for when she come through, but my dad got a hold of her before she got a hold of me. She was mad, but I didn't get disappointed. She was mad at me. She was heartbroken. I always respected her in the sense of being a Jehovah's Witness. I never went unless it was Passover. But yeah, up till the passing of my mother for the last 2 years, I unfortunately had to prove to her that they were a cult.
Right. Okay.
I mean,
So
literally prove to her.
I mean, you were showing her the obvious things then.
Yeah. As soon as we
Okay.
quit cutting off the money, and they were donating plenty. When
Yeah. Why would Father deal in currency and money and things like this? It doesn't seem like him, right?
Right. Well,
Right.
they've got a donation box, so that way nobody knows who donates what, just what they can, and it's supposed to pay the electric bill, water, whatever for the taxes on the building. Their what do you call them? Their speakers. They travel to our town. Our Jehovah's Witnesses take care of them, so they don't need to spend money. They don't gain any money. So I don't know what these Jehovah's Witnesses was doing, because my mother was giving them $250 a week on top of whatever it cost them a month.
Well, yeah, I've heard this a lot from them.
They didn't get to go for the last 3 years. I'm like, I walk in, I live two hours away from them. I would walk into my house or to their house and be completely disgusted after listening to how much the Jehovah's Witnesses is their family and taking care of them.
Okay, so what have you? So where's your perspective now? What have you gathered and what have you learned from all of this? Now that you know that it's clearly false, where are you at now?
I definitely believe in God and Christ, Mother Earth. I'm not too much on the stars and stuff. Don't hate me for it.
No, it's okay. We're not talking about none of that. We're just
I'm definitely a Christian. I'm definitely one of those that always try to reach out to others, take care of others.
I would say the same for us.
I don't celebrate pagan holidays.
Okay. Neither do we.
What gets me about it is, and I've done the math for years, $8 billion spent on 1 year's, and that's not the correct number, but it was in the billions for holidays in 1 year. And we have veterans and children and people living on the streets.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we see that a lot now. Okay. So, what you said, both your parents were Jehovah's Witness.
Well, let me put it to you this way. Whoever my mother was married to at the time, they became Jehovah's Witness. Well, they divorced, and then they were, kicked out.
Mm-hmm.
She was one of those very backdoor narcissist Jehovah's Witness.
Mm.
She was very cruel.
But the Christians are this way.
She was very cruel to my older siblings.
Jump Rock is up here on the panel. I don't know if he wants to say anything either because he's being quiet, but
I'm actually a woman, but
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Oh, that's okay. Everybody always thinks it's a guy by the name.
My bad. I wasn't trying to assume. Hey?
That's okay. It doesn't. I'm not offended at all.
Okay, good.
I don't even know what a woman is. We're not supposed to know.
All right. Well, all right. Well, what do you want to say? What do you want to talk about? Do you disagree with what we're saying?
Yeah, I was totally kidding what I said last there, but I was just gonna say I actually was just listening right now. I mean, I probably have a billion questions, but
I'm sure you do.
Where to start? I met Artist on another live and listened to her a little bit, and it really drew my interest. So I'm just interested in looking at what it is.
Have you watched her YouTube videos, or have you watched anything that she's researched and studied?
I've watched one of them. And it was a 6-hour video, and I didn't get all the way through it yet.
Yeah, that's a long one. That's the Matthew 24. Yeah, it's a big one.
Yeah, so that's the one I was watching, and my husband is watching it with me. So I mean, like, he's interested also, and
that's great.
Yeah, so I'm just, kind of listening, and I guess a question right now that I can think of is, so like, where do you guys think we're at on the timeline of everything at this point? I mean,
there's a little bit of discrepancy about that.
I have something real quick.
Yeah, go ahead, Ella. Go ahead.
So the other day, I got that I was in the Garden of Eden. Literally, Garden of Eden. Did anybody ever think that maybe we're just getting into the Garden of Eden now? And that's why we're dealing with all these serpents and stuff? Because they're outside forces that influence us, such as the serpent influenced Eve, and then passed it down to Adam. But, like, Eve got in trouble for it. Like, Eve was the one accused when really it's the serpent and we bit the apple.
Well, you got to think this is a Jewish story narrative that we're being given here. So it could have some validity to it. But we have a lot of ancient stories about similar things. So we're just taking the Jewish narrative as that is everything and end all be all, or what do you think? I was not trying to be argumentative.
No, I'm not. I'm actually not. I'm really trying to have a conversation here, and like I think we are having a conversation. I'm just very passionate. I love God, like I really do. So, I just think it's from that perspective because of symbolism and, serpents, the outside. Was it made from God? Like, what if the serpent wasn't? I mean, there's all these questions we can have. We're not going to be able to know until the end, but it's something for you guys to think of.
Well,
I have something to say to that.
Go ahead.
I'm not a Bible thumper. I'm not.
Me neither. I'm not doing that. But
I believe in twin flames. And
Okay,
it's
so a little bit of astrology then.
well, it's actually happened. Plank is my twin flame. Our charts align.
Okay.
And
I don't know if I want to know if I have a twin.
well, love is the answer to everything. Love is the key. So if you unlock love, but you have to be authentically yourself before you unlock love. There's a lot.
I get that part 100%.
So stay with love, you can get out of the light. I mean, not the light, the dark, I mean. You can stay in the light.
Your earlier question, the prophecies in the Bible are happening, have been happening.
They have. And you can translate everything to the Bible pretty much. I mean, it was man-made, but whatever these people were going through was because of God.
Like it's all not learning from the past.
I mean, history repeats itself.
Yes, but if you're going into astrology and you're going into the understandings of that, then that is a construct of the world that we live in.
It's all tied together, everything.
Right. And I'm not.
I don't believe that there's all this big oneness. I think that Jesus, he told us, he said, all that ever came before him were thieves and liars, and the sheep don't listen to their voice. We have to listen to Jesus, and he has to be our guide. It's like he's our way, out of here.
He is, but there.
Well, I think
it's okay. We're not putting you on the spot.
I'm gonna put my face in this and tell you guys.
Go ahead.
Okay. Hi.
Oh, hello, Ella.
Hi. Okay, so imagine sitting at a table and we're at like the United Nations.
That'd be a horrible place to be sitting, but yeah.
I mean, it is. I mean, it's a horrible place. But there are many prophets. However, I only believe in one because of because I got with Jesus Christ.
Well,
there's other things, and people need to find their own spiritual path in order to get to the source.
Okay. I'm going to ask you to explain a little further.
Okay.
What you're trying to say, because I really like Bella
it sounds
to
like
come
Wicca
up.
to me, because it's like I used to be a Wiccan.
That's what it sounds like.
I'm not a Wiccan or anything like that.
Me neither. And I understand and I study things about astrology, and I'm not ignorant to these things. I'm just I'm very observant of each little thing that everyone wants to say and believe and try to follow, and it's like, what are we really following?
Well, exactly, but here's the deal. If you don't put beliefs on other people, which we're not doing...
I'm not trying to do that, by the way.
People are. I'm not either. I don't want you, whatever your way of thinking is your way of thinking. And most definitely, you can't tell me my way of thinking is not my way of thinking.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Okay.
So, this is my belief. But I do know to myself that I believe that they are together. And that's what we're dealing with. I mean, it's a lot. And then there's the devil. The devil is the worst thing in the world. So,
Yeah, he's in control. And that's why so many people don't believe in God, is because they blame God for whatever happened to them. Why would God let this happen to them when
Right,
God?
and then we're getting all these we're getting all these religious beliefs a lot of from that. Like, oh, well,
We're
bad
not
things
we're not
happen.
in Father's world.
And then you got to think of
Exactly.
energy vampires. Those things are real. I mean, it's a battle of demonic forces, good versus evil, light versus the dark. Like, okay, I'm going to tell you something. I live in a big city. And I have, guess you can say, I'm very tough. I know where to not go. I like in my area, meaning like we have neighborhoods that are low income that are full of people that sell rugs and have pew-pews and whatnot. One night I was going down a block and I was Ubering, and they had blocked it off with those wooden horses. Have you guys ever seen those wooden horses?
I haven't.
You know, to like block off the street
You mean like
temporarily.
sawhorses?
Yeah, the sawhorses.
Oh, yeah.
okay.
Okay.
So they blocked off the street with sawhorses, and these people were holding pew-pews outside and like in front of another house, like, you know, the automatic machines or whatever. I didn't feel fear once dealing with that. I felt fear the first Sunday of March of this year because I saw a demon. I felt fear. I called the cops. I saw it with my own eyes. When I got a chance, my phone was dying. Everything you could think of in a situation that you think either someone's going to steal your soul, which that's what I thought at first, or come and rob your house.
So this was in your house?
This happened the first Sunday of March. However, before
In
that,
your house?
at my house,
Okay.
this entity came to my house. It was a woman. She had short red hair, and she had a demonic face. And a couple of weeks after that Sunday of March, it came out that there's a new syndrome of a demonic syndrome.
Demonic face syndrome.
Exactly.
Demon face syndrome.
Exactly. And I'm thinking to myself, why can't they sit there and say, well, that's schizophrenia? Because they say faces are with schizophrenic. Why are they saying it's demonic face syndrome? Well, when I was calling the police, I thought to check on my Ring camera. You know, that thing was not on my fucking Ring camera. Excuse my language. Me and Jesus are working on that. It wasn't there. That was the first time I ever felt fear in my life. And so much bad stuff has happened to me that a lot of people wouldn't be able to handle.
Right. I'm not saying. Yeah, I hear what you're saying.
Well, my initial question though was more about when I asked like what time frame do you think we're in? I'm talking about New Testament, like Revelations and all. Like,
well, we think that the revelation is the revealing of the Christ, and it's very possible that these things could have happened in 70 AD. It's very possible a lot of these things people talking about the little season. I'm not disagreeing with any of that.
I think this is what happens. It resets. It starts all over again. It's going to be peace.
At some point, it's not going to reset, right?
No, I disagree with
that. Yeah, I mean,
there have been reportedly biblical times over and over again that is hearsay.
Okay, so do you guys believe that one day Jesus is going to come and judge the world.
We're getting a little off subject here though, because the real subject that we're trying to talk about is the difference between Yahweh and the Father that Jesus taught. That's really what we're trying to talk about. And I'm not trying to get too much into the whole prophecy and revelation and all those things. I'm trying to keep it on that topic.
We got to
Do you
get off
believe
here.
that the Father is in the Old Testament?
Thank you, guys.
Bye, Ella.
Yeah,
Thank
it's
you,
okay.
Ella.
Thank you.
It
Thank
was a
you.
pleasure meeting all of you people.
You too.
Yeah, it was great meeting you. Yeah,
This is
thank
the
you for
first-
talking.
This is the first time I'm in this room. Like I said,
Yeah.
Plank, Steve, he's the one that showed me you guys. We're born one day apart, a couple degrees off, but our charts complete each other, which is a sign of twin flame. So it's crazy. And we met through TikTok.
Well, it
Well,
was
thanks
really
for
nice
being
meeting you
here.
also.
Thank you for coming, Ella.
talking.
Night.
Night.
Okay, so is the Father of Jesus in the Old Testament at all, or are you just seeing the Father in the New
I don't see him.
Testament?
I don't see him very much. I don't see the character. I don't see it.
Do you think you don't see him
Where's
at
it
all
at?
there?
I mean, where's it at? Show me where it's at. I would love to see where the Father's being portrayed in the Old Testament. It seems it's just nowhere.
Oh, I see what you're asking there. Okay.
Because it's just so wrong. I mean, everything is just so wrong.
Because when you think about like John 6, it's like when Jesus was talking to the Jews and he said, "You're of your father, the devil," and he said he was a unaliver and a liar from the beginning. Well, when you look at that word for beginning in Greek, it's Genesis. He's literally telling us that, that
he's
from
been
the
a
start,
liar
that's,
since Genesis.
Yes.
Right.
People don't catch it because they're reading it in English and not in Greek,
Right.
Then he calls Moses the accuser. Well, the word for accuser in Greek is kategoros, and it specifically means the Satan, like the head Satan.
Right.
And people don't catch that either. He said Moses gave the law and the prophets, but Jesus gave the truth. It's like...
That's right.
That's why we think that...
is it her or is it me that she's... delaying a little bit?
What's that?
No, say what you're saying. I was listening.
I always like to hear and learn other people's opinions.
Yeah, this is a different one. You won't hear it probably from many groups.
Yeah, this is a hard one to hear, really. It
really is hard. It's hard to hear this stuff. It's like, I was telling them earlier, it's like when you hear the word parable, in first century, that anybody would have told you that came from parabolo in Latin, and it means compare. So every time Jesus says, "I tell you a parable," he's saying, compare this.
Yeah, compare
and
this, compare that.
What he's comparing it to is what the people where he was speaking would have known that it was Yahweh. Like he said, "What father would give you a serpent when you ask for a fish?" Well, that was Yahweh in the wilderness. That's what he did. When they asked for fish in Numbers, he sent serpents and they bit them and they died. What father would send you a stone when you ask for a piece of bread? Well, the manna, it says in Numbers, was like coriander seed. Well, coriander seed is like a rock. And it says that they literally had to grind it up with a mortar. It's like it had to be ground up into a powder to make bread. Another one would be like, you've heard it said, an eye for an eye and a tooth for a tooth, but I tell you it's not so. He was undoing everything that they had learned. And like the trees of good and evil, he said a good tree cannot produce evil fruit. So how are you going to learn about evil from a tree that has
Right.
both? You
Right.
can't. All the warnings are there. I
If
really
he told
think,
them not to eat from that tree, though, can you explain just a little more on what you said there about the tree of good and evil?
yeah, because it's like that tree can teach you evil and can teach you good. Then that contradicts what his parable he was telling us about the trees, that either make a tree good or not at all, because a tree cannot produce evil fruit.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, and Jesus said that about
Yeah.
the gotcha. Okay,
Right.
so
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, you're seeing it.
He said, you don't get good fruit from a thorn bush. But this is a hard one to see because in English we've got a burning bush in that Moses meets, Yahweh at. Okay, but in Hebrew it's a thorn bush. It's burning, but it's a thorn bush. Everything he was saying, if they would have known back then, it's harder for us to see it today. But we have to just kind of, like everything out of his mouth, he said that he spoke not unless he spoke in parables. So he's constantly speaking of comparisons. Like even the works. He said, the works I do show you the Father. And everybody says, well, what works? The works were healing. They were like the blind, the lame, the sick, people that, needed healing. And when you look at Yahweh in the Old Testament, he said, is a man not blind or deaf or mute? Have I not done it? And then Jesus was calling all the sick people to be healed to him. Okay. And Yahweh's in the Old Testament saying, don't let them in my temple. Don't get them in my holy of holies. I don't want them anywhere near me. It's like everything is polar opposite, but it doesn't go along with what we were taught growing up. So it makes it very difficult to see it.
That's
It's
right. Yeah.
we kind of like read right over it.
Interrupt, but I have to jump off of here. I just want to say thank you for letting me join in.
Thank you so much for coming.
Absolutely. Yeah, we loved having you.
And I'll try to catch y'all tomorrow or something. All right.
Okay, that
Try to
sounds
get on
great.
live again.
Good night.
Night.
Okay, so you guys though don't have any. Is this something you don't want to get into, or you have no idea?
No, not. Well,
Yeah,
what do you want
or-
to get into? What is it
Well,
that you
there
want to
are-
get into?
Well, I was going to say it here in a second is the revelations and timelines of things. Like, I don't know. I guess I'm trying to absorb all of this.
No, it's okay.
And maybe I'm jumping ahead too on trying to get this figured out. But
It's okay. It's
I
okay.
guess
We're
what
all trying to figure it out.
Do you believe everything that's said in the New Testament? Like, do you believe that we're going to have tribulation and that, the two witnesses are going to preach and die or unalive in the streets and then the 1,000-year millennial, and then
This is why it's important to
Little
understand that there's
Caesar.
two Jesuses. There's two
that's
at
right.
the trial.
That's right. Okay, which is going to change up the New Testament some also. Okay.
Well, we have Jesus Barabbas. Barabbas in Aramaic means son of the Father. And we have Jesus, who they call the Christ. If you're going to follow the Christ, you're following Yahweh's boy, essentially. Because if you think that he's the Christ and you think all this and that, whatever, you're still following Yahweh's ways.
And I
Does that
can't
make
think now.
sense?
Yeah, and I can't think now of what all was said by Jesus
but
and
from
what
the
was.
things that you're saying and the things that you are starting to understand, you can see that there's some clear contrast. So if you can see the words of Jesus being different from Yahweh, that's the first step. So if you know that Yahweh is not this Father that the Son of the Father came to reveal to us, then you're gonna delve in a little deeper and say, well, why would we ever call him the Christ? Well, he told us many, many times, never call me this. He commanded them, he rebuked them. they've tried to do things with the translations to make us believe in this Christ figure, and then they integrated Paul, which all he did was preach the Christ figure, and made him swear an oath to him. So we're left with, what's the real truth here? Because if we're going to follow this Christ figure and we're going to go with what Paul's saying, where Jesus told us, he said, if they say that they see me in the desert and, whatever, in the upper rooms, believe it not. Well, where did Paul say that he saw him 3 different times and then tells the story 3 different ways? So we're left with some conflicting things with him. Did he really know? Or maybe he did know the Christ. Maybe he did. But we don't really ever want to call him the Christ if we believe that he came to reveal this Father figure that he's telling us about. Does that make sense? Or am I talking a little too crazy?
So no, that's making sense. So
okay.
The way to understand the true Jesus and the fake one, the fake one is always called Jesus Christ.
Well,
even get
think about do you know what the title Christ means? Do you know what that entails?
Does it mean to be the anointed one?
Right, the Jewish prophesied Messiah. So if you really think about Jesus and everything he was standing for, that's a huge insult to be calling him that. I mean, if you really understand what he's saying, to be calling him the Christ and not the Son of the Father is massive. But we have Christianity and we have Catholicism, and they just want to push Christ to everything, and it's just Christ this, Christ that. Everywhere you look, it's just Christ. People don't even use Jesus anymore. They don't use anything. They don't say Son of the Father. They don't say none of that. It's just Christ everything. Everything's just Christ. We're just going to say Christ. And the more and more I look at Jesus' words, it's like, man, he was really telling us to not call him this title. And I see that more and more. If you see who Yahweh is and that character, why would you ever want to call him this title of the Christ? I mean, that is very insulting to who he was. But the Christians all do it, and they're all still on every street corner, and they're telling us, oh, you can get any truth at any street corner, but it's like nobody's really feeling it though. It's like, maybe you got some of Jesus's words in here, but the Christ ain't really doing it.
When I realized that, Jumper, it was when I was reading Matthew 24:5, and they asked him when the end of the age would be, and he said, "Don't be deceived." And he said, "Many will come in my name, saying I'm the Christ, and they will lead many astray." And I don't know why, but it just flew off the page at me, and I'm like, "Oh my gosh, we've been wrong." And I started digging in the Greek, and it literally says, "Many will come, superimpose my name, saying I'm the Christ." Because epi in Greek is not in. If it were in, it would have been a little e with a V looking thing. But epi is in that word, in that slot in Greek. And epi is like, your epidermis when you're in school and they teach it's your outer layer of your skin.
Yeah.
That's why they say it's the outer layer, because it's your epidermis. It's the epi. Okay, well, he's saying they're going to layer on my name. They're going to lay upon my name the Christ, and they're going to deceive many. And when I saw that, I was like, this cannot be. And my mind reeled. It just went all over the place. One of the places it went was like to 1 John 2:22, where it says, "Who is the liar but he that denies that Jesus is the Christ?" You know that verse?
Yes, yeah.
I mean, everybody knows that verse. Well, when I went and looked at it, I was in shock. I was like, oh no. Because I looked at the Greek, and it said, "Who is the liar but he that denies that Jesus is not the Christ," in Greek. There's a little word in between the word Jesus and Christ in Greek, and it's on. It looks like O-U-K in English, but it's the
That's how
word.
it's spelled.
Yeah,
Yeah.
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 If you look at the interlinear, you'll see it right in between the two words, Jesus and Christ, and it means not.
What verse is that again? Chapter and verse?
It's 1 John 2:22.
1 John 2.
Yeah, First John
Okay.
2:22, and I said, okay, now let me make sure it wasn't just this manuscript that had it in it, because I didn't want to be wrong about this. I spent I don't know how many months on all this, but so I went to Bible Hub and I looked. You know how you can look at all the different Greek versions, like they got the Nestle and they've got the Masoretic text and the Horton and Muse, the other one, and they have them all in a row. And there's like
What
2 or
book
3
is that?
pages of them, huh?
What book is that?
First John 2:22.
No, the book you were talking about that shows all the different versions.
It's the internet site Bible Hub.
Oh, okay.
If you hit the Greek tab when you get to the verse, just hit the Greek up above, and it'll take you to all the Greek versions, and it'll say "See all versions," and it'll show you them all. They all had that word "not" in them. I'm like, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
So then I went and checked the Latin. I said, okay, I'm going to go even further confirmation. It's in the Latin version. They took it out.
It is, yeah.
They
took
removed
it all
it.
out.
And they've done that in many places on things. And like the word Christ is not in a lot of the 4 Gospels. In a lot of the places, Christ's word is not even there, but they added it later.
What
And
is that internet site you just said?
Bible Hub.
Bible Hub.
Bible Hub. Okay, I am sorry. I'm just trying to.
No, that's okay. It's a real
fine.
good one though to see the Greek text, to see if they line up and they're the same.
Yes. Yeah, I want to check out that app.
You can also go to my YouTube channel and watch my video on Matthew 24, and I show it on the screen.
That's
Like
the
you could-
one I was telling the guy on here that my husband and I went on and watched part of that one, so I'm a little bit familiar with some of what you're saying.
It's a long video, but
Yeah,
I knew I would get a lot of criticism, and I was trying to, everything I found, I was trying to make sure it's all in there,
Right.
And I mean,
we're not trying to
it's
be
easy
on that.
It's easy to pause the video and come back to, and that's what we're gonna do is watch it in shifts.
Yeah, it's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, I broke one up like that before, and I lost half of it. It didn't do right, and the whole thing just disappeared on me. So I've decided just to do it all in one fell swoop. If they want to take a break, they can take an intermission and come back tomorrow.
Yeah,
finish watching,
that's what I meant, is that
Yep.
we can pause it and come back to it, and so I don't freak out too much when I see it 6 hours long. But okay, and so that word you're saying is O-U-K. Is that what you said?
Yeah, the Greek letters look like our English O-U-K. When you're looking for the word, if you don't speak Greek, that's the easiest way I know to tell you to find it.
And that's the word that means the epiderm, or
no, the epi one is EPI.
That's epi.
It's epi.
Oh, okay.
Just
What's
like it
the
is for
O-U-K?
O-U-K is not N-O-T.
Oh, okay.
And
Yeah.
what they did was they took that out because they wanted everybody to believe he was the Christ. And I'm like, man, this is so deep. It is so deep.
Well, they've messed
you
with
really
it
have
so
to dig.
much. That
Yeah, exactly.
It's like,
They
man,
mess with the
where do you
text.
know? Yeah.
That's why we're here. That's why we have the live. That's I'm really trying
Well,
to get people to look into this a little deeper.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Now, is this something that's been being taught for many years now?
Well, and I know you would say that because I asked the same question.
No,
And it's not, unfortunately.
And I'll tell you
okay,
why.
so
I think it's the
first of all,
deception for the end times, because when you look at that verse, I'm going to pull it up so I can show you. I've got my Bible out because I can't drop my screen. But it says, unless those days have been cut short, no life would have been saved. But for the sake of the elect, those days will be cut short. Okay, they left the word out of there twice. Okay, it actually says, unless those AI days had been cut short, no life would have been saved. But for the sake of the elect, those AI days will be cut short. And
And
I
what's
looked
that
up to
mean?
see why they didn't translate the AI, and they said there was no English equivalent. They didn't know what it meant, in other words.
Yeah, they didn't know.
What?
But he's literally telling us that we're in that time because this is the AI days.
Yeah, so you couldn't find what AI meant in English, but so you're saying it's probably referring to AIs, artificial intelligence.
Right, I think so.
yeah, I think
so. Because the Mark, let's see, what verse is the Mark thing in? There's a verse that has about the mark, the sign.
I'm gonna have to hop off here soon, but
okay. I think it's the sign, but that literally in first century was a jab, just like we have today.
Really?
Yes. It said the term was medically, it was a medical term, and it's obsolete now. They don't use it anymore.
So when they use words like, so when it says stuff like about the mark of the beast, it means jab of the beast.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Well, yeah, it's hard to reconcile, but yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
I hope you didn't take it, but even if you did, even if anybody did that's listening, I want to say this right now. If anybody did take it, I found a verse where it says, "Don't think I won't forgive you," and it's dealing with that.
Absolutely.
I can't recall the verse number right now, but there is absolutely a verse that says, "Don't think I won't forgive you." So that is not a deal breaker. You know.
Do you read the book of Enoch? I mean, does the first book of Enoch do you?
I've read it before.
I've read it before. Yeah.
There's something in the last chapter of that book that sounds like what you just said on being forgiven. That possibly it means you could be forgiven for that, for taking that mark.
Yep.
But no, nobody in my family did. We were
okay. My sister did. It really upset me. But
my mother. When I say my
family members that did.
I mean,
when I found that thing on the
husband
forgiveness, I was like, "Oh, thank goodness!" And she was panicking. She knew. She knew afterwards. She knew. She called me. She was just freaking out.
Why'd she?
How do I get it out of my system? What do I do? And I'm like, I don't think you can. You know. But I told her. I said it's not a deal breaker. He said it's not a deal breaker. Father loves us so much. People don't realize how much Father loves us. I mean, we mean everything to him.
My mother took that jab, and so that, I mean, I hope they can.
We have a lot of loved ones that did what you're saying, so we get it.
I have a good friend that took it, but myself and my husband and my kids didn't. When I said my family, I meant just myself, husband, and kids. Not, none of my siblings did, but my mom and my stepdad both did.
Well, I used to be a registered nurse, and when I read about it, I was like, there ain't no way I'm putting that in my body. There ain't no way. And it's like, I was just like freaked out. And I mean, my doctors were pressing me because I have Job syndrome, and I don't have any immune system. I have lupus. And they were just like on me, I said, look, just hush. I'm not doing it. You know, I'll take my chances. But I was not putting all that mess in me, because basically I think what they put in there, and I'm speaking from my research because I read the NIH paperwork and stuff, and where they developed it and all, is like a CRISPR-9 technology. It literally genetically makes you a new operating system. You know.
Yeah.
I'm speaking kind of loosely here because I don't want to trigger anything, but
I've never tried this and would love to try it. I don't know if you know about it and have tried it, but I saw something a few years ago that was showing how you can like turn the Bluetooth on your phone and say you're in a crowded area, a restaurant, somewhere where there's a lot of people around, and that every one of them that are jabbed, it will register. It'll come up on your Bluetooth, it showed.
Yeah, it will. And also, like in graveyards where people have taken it and they unalived, it'll show up when they walk around.
Really?
They'll still read even though they're unalived. Yep. I saw a scientist do that in a different country.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that was pretty freaky to watch.
Yeah.
They were looking up and they knew because there were records taken who had taken it and who hadn't.
Oh, wow. Well, they said that they did placebos just like they do with any other vaccine like that. And I prayed that my loved ones that got it got the placebo, but my mom and her husband, I think, went back over and over. And do you know my stepdad, after getting that, well, you know how it all went down. It was if you get it, you won't get the sickness. Then it was, well, you could get the sickness, but you won't unalive from it. And then, you know, so on and so forth. But my stepdad got sick, got the COVID, and was in the hospital. He was in ICU for a week, and then in another room in the hospital for 2 more weeks. So 3 weeks total. He came very close to unaliving. And here's what I believe saved him outside of the Father is he would not let them intubate him, put a respirator on him. But after the 3 weeks was up and he went through all of that and almost unalived, then the doctors told them that, oh, if he wouldn't have got the jab, he definitely wouldn't have made it. And my mom told me that and wholeheartedly believed it. And I thought, you got to be kidding me. I believe he got that sick from
Yeah, well.
Well, there's an indoctrination with the medical field because I was indoctrinated to believe many things that now I see that the benefit of clean living and good food can be more beneficial than pharmaceuticals, you know.
Right.
And we were like not taught that in school, and we believed it because it's what was in our textbook and, you know, and all that good stuff. It's like,
oh, I think we've all been indoctrinated.
I'm not as trusting anymore. It's like I go read, and if they want to give me a new medication, I ask them if this, and this is in it. If it is, I won't take it. It's like I'm very pointed about what I'll take and what I won't take. Now they could trick us and give us something that we don't know is in it, but at that point, I have asked. If they lie, then you know I can't do anything about that.
Right, which I think if it really is the mark of the beast, it's not gonna, I don't think they can give us that against our will, do you? I feel like that's
they could hold you down and give it to you. They could come in your home and demand that you're going to take it, and they could take a bunch of men and hold you down and give it to you. They did that in India.
Don't you think God would make it obsolete though if you didn't want it?
Yeah, I mean that's not your will. That wasn't something you wanted. That was forced.
Right.
You know.
But have you been hearing? Did you hear stuff about it being in the chemtrails and in food and stuff?
I've heard that. Yeah,
we've heard it all.
I've heard that, and I know they've done their studies on the NIH about them putting it in tomatoes and genetically modifying the food, and there may be no way to protect ourselves from it being in something that we inhale or we eat, or you know.
But if it is the mark and we did not willingly take it, I would think it would have no power over us. You know,
that's how I feel too.
I gotta hop on here.
I
All
know I
right.
need to
I
go
enjoyed
too.
the
It's
con-
getting late.
I'm sorry.
Well, I'm
It's
really
already
glad.
it's 11:30.
Oh, you're on
Well,
Eastern time. I'm on
Yeah.
yeah,
Central.
yeah.
So I'm
Well,
an
it's
But I
hour.
great
enjoyed the
talking to
live,
you.
guys. I hope everybody
I,
did. And
Yes,
Jumper,
I
come back
did.
again. We'd love to talk to you.
I would.
yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
I was thrilled
Yeah,
to
yeah.
see you on
Join
here.
again. Join again.
I will.
Huh.
Do you know how often you're going to do it, or?
We're gonna try to do it a lot more often.
Yeah,
Maybe
this is our
tomorrow.
second time, and we're trying to get it. Third time, isn't it? We done
Yeah,
this third time.
yeah. We've done
Well,
it a
I'm going
couple
to keep
times.
watching your YouTube videos so I can get more and
Absolutely.
more understanding, and I'm going to have
Okay,
questions.
that's
So,
fine.
All right.
and
Well, it's
I
been
will be
great talking with
watching.
you.
Yeah, it was great talking with both of you, and I'll be watching for you to come live again. So,
Absolutely. Definitely.
all
We'll
righty.
talk
Well,
again soon.
yeah,
Abba,
God
Father, bless
and
everybody. Y'all
Yeah.
have a good night. I'm gonna get off here, guys. Good
thank
Bye-bye,
you.
night.
everybody.
You too.
That's a good night.
Bye bye.